Oh, we're live.
Oh, we're live.
What a way to introduce the fact that we're live.
Oh, we're live.
Oh,
We are live. Thank you for joining the Oh, We're Live show. That is the end of the show.
Oh, and then when we stop going live, is the show over?
That's it.
what's up to all our sidekicks and henchmen out there in the Geek Nation? You're watching the CultPop podcast, which is a new amalgamation of the previous Spoiler Alert podcast and also the Gutter Talk podcast. We've smooshed them together like a delicious s'more dripping with marshmallow and chocolate and a little bit of something extra. I'm your host, Johnny Destructo. With me this week is...
Oh, Brian Lee.
I didn't mean to surprise you.
You're going to look for the cues.
Wait,
Yeah.
we're live?
We're live. But that wasn't a run through of like me practicing the intro. Also with me this week is
Noel. I'm here as well.
Len is supposed to be joining us. We have not heard from him. I'm wondering if he is still asleep. We will find out. If he joins us, fantastic. If not, the show will be terrible without him. So we're going to talk about the books from this week, just a smattering, a sprinkling, a skosh of books from this week. And then we're going to do a book club review of a requested book called Atomic Robo. And then as the dessert, we're going to have a Gutter Talk episode where we talk about San Diego Comic-Con at home. Are you ready to get started? We're going to start with some letters.
We got letters? Some letters?
Yeah.
Oh, we got lots and lots and lots and lots of letters.
Ah, fuck.
The best one yet.
Oh, but do I have them ready? Here we go.
I don't. Do you want to do the song over again?
We'll okay.
Here,
I'll cue it.
Anthony Drago. Oh, you know what? Actually, we have one from Anthony Drago. Thank you so much, Anthony, for writing us in. But this particular email directly ties into next week's Gutter Talk segment, where we will be discussing sexism in the comic book industry. This is a Warren Ellis question and separating the art from the artist. So we're going to put this on hold, and we will talk about this next week. Christopher St. Saucy Goodnight has also written us in. I've clicked off the tabs. As I've clicked off the tabs, am I still live?
Oh, you're live?
All right, I just want to make sure. Because I can't see because I'm on a different tab.
It's cool that we
all right, so.
Oh, the books one is.
Yeah. And if you've ever seen JD's tabs, there's like 40,000 of them. It's just like,
yeah, I got a lot of tabs.
Where'd it go?
I haven't seen his tabs. JD, I want to see your tabs.
No. He's riddled with tabs. He's deep into tabs.
Let me see those tabs.
Lousy with tabs.
Ooh, he's lousy with tabs.
Yeah. Tabtacular.
Christopher St. Saucy Goodnight wrote us in 37 minutes ago, and he says, hey, guys, here's the thing. I've recently gotten a decent paying job and can afford the finer things in life, like first printings of comics I love and Wizard Magazine exclusive figures, or maybe it was Toy Fair. And while I could get these things off Evil Bay, I'd much rather get them from my local comic shop guy. The problem is he isn't sure he has them in his warehouse and is taking his sweet-ass time looking for them. He had some vandals a few weeks ago during the shutdown, but I asked him about them right before it happened, thinking that if I couldn't get my regular books, I could at least support him that way. But like I said, he is taking a while, and I want them now. Do I just go with Evil Bay since he doesn't seem to be in any hurry to take my money? Chris St. Saucy, good night. Yes, no.
We'll praise him first. Dude, thank you so much for knowing that comic book retailers and small shops need your business right now, and then finding something that you want to spend your money on is awesome. And then reaching out to him, awesome. The stuff that you described is not stuff that's time sensitive.
Hey.
Yeah.
So
like,
I mean,
what?
give him a little bit of like if it was like a time sensitive book that came out this week, you don't want it spoiled. Everyone's talking about it. Oh my God, just get it wherever you can. These are 25-year-old action figures. You just like the Toy Fair Wizard ones. I mean, if they haven't flown off the eBay shelves, they won't this week while you give them an extra day or two. At least that's what I think to respond. No, I know that you really, really want them. It's just, it might, just a little bit more patience.
Especially, thank you. No, that is exactly my answer. So I'm not going to reiterate that. But especially since you know he was looted recently, and he has more.
Oh yeah, I
on
didn't even
his
think about
mind.
that.
He has more on his mind than getting to the storage unit or the warehouse to find these figures that are 25 years old because you decided you wanted them now.
Oh yeah, also too, he needs your money more than ever, likely.
Yeah,
So be extra patient with him because that's super cool.
that's yes. Yeah. Brian, do you have an opinion?
I do, and I totally agree with what you guys are saying, but
you're all wrong.
Yes, don't get the figures. Put your money in the toilet.
Yeah.
And fill it for him because he didn't deserve your dollars.
No, my understanding of the letter was that he had asked a while ago. Now, even that being said, I still agree with you guys, especially in this time. Like, there's stuff going on. You know, he had some problems, and it's great to stick with him. At the same time, I totally understand. You're just like, once you want something, you're like, it's been like months, and I want it. But if you could hold off, I'm sure that he would appreciate it. And he has also, we've heard of his dealings with this Comic Cup before, and sometimes it seems like he doesn't necessarily get the things that he asks for.
He's in there. Yeah, he's here. Like a direct question. Has the retailer ghosted you? When was the last time he talked to you? Like, if it was only a day or two and you're just a little impatient, that's different. But if he hasn't responded in 2 weeks and 3 emails, then all right, maybe he's not doing great.
Now, I would still give him another call. Whatever you do, say like, hey man, just wanted to check in. Have you heard any updates on this? And then if you are going to go and get it somewhere else, I would at the very least give him one more chance to say, hey, hang on a second, going through some stuff.
That's an excellent point. How about, hey, give him a call. Listen, I really want to give you the money, but I don't know if you're going to get around to it. If you're going to get around to it, great. But otherwise, I'll just look elsewhere.
Because I can't wait. I need to get this before it's gone. I have an opportunity. I'd really like to give you money, but if you can't or you don't have time, that's fine. But it makes like a
not like a threat.
Air.
Not like a threat. Just a heads up. Like, hey man, I understand you're real busy.
Yeah. And because he may not have them, I think was part of it too. Like he's checking to see if he has them. I might be wrong about that part, but I
guess I can get rid of this for now. I'm just gonna remove. Hey. He says it's not time sensitive, but prices on eBay change all the time. Items disappear completely. Max says good morning. Joel says good morning, everyone. Hope y'all are doing wonderful. Chris says he said there wasn't any looting, just vandalism on the front of the warehouse. I mean, that still sucks. Which apparently is connected to the office building he owns. Huh. So I think a heads up, like, hey man, I want to give you the money, but just let me know if you don't have time to get around to it. I completely understand.
Is this a big retailer? What state is Chris in?
I don't think so. I think
like Mile High or something, where it's just a big old warehouse and they only do back issues and collectibles.
I don't think he does. If I'm remembering, if I have the story straight, I don't think he does comics mainly. He's got like a hobby shop or something else, but he hasn't.
Barely does comics.
That's just one of the retailers that St. Saucy goes to. Like he has mentioned, there's more than one. Like there's some that are just shops that he on and off for the past 15 years, and then there's the hobby shop that just does direct orders only. Like he's a storied shopper.
Indeed.
So thank you so much, Christopher St. Saucy. Good night for writing us in. Anthony Drago, we'll get to next time. And then Home Dad Abroad had written me in, but it really was just because in the stream. So besides this YouTube that you are currently enjoying, or this Facebook Live, whatever you're on, I take the show and I download the audio, and then I make an audio podcast out of it. I do mild editing and I throw it up on the podcast stream, CultPop podcast stream on iTunes and Stitcher and all that other sort of stuff. And I forgot that I didn't do issue 700, but I put up 701. So the one with me and you, Brian, was 700. And I was already like mostly done editing 701 before I realized, snap, I never did 700. So in the feed, it goes 699, 701. And then Home Dad Abroad was personally offended that I guess the email with his letter in it was not on the
of course
stream yet.
Yeah,
I like the idea that it was a one-time live only super special episode that I mean it will be available later.
Yeah,
but
it was
it's
the
not gonna be
Chromium
for
edition.
3 or 4 weeks. Yeah. Oh
It
yeah,
had
it was the
97 Rob Liefeld covers.
This is a Chromium edition that had to go to the printers, so we're going to come out with the other book first and make sure that this one, it's about a frog that is a cyborg, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, Christopher, I'm in Indiana. Chris says, I'm in Indiana, but he bought his shop from a chain and then moved it a few years later after the lease was up. And Anthony says, so you do read the emails ahead of time. Well, yes, if you catch me on the toilet, if the email comes in, and I have literally nothing else to do, I will browse it.
There's no uniform process for how the information starts before the show.
I have ADHD. I make no promises about anything.
Where am I?
Yeah.
That's not how that works.
No.
The shop is like half the size of a Barnes and Noble or twice the size of a Hot. He gave us 2 measurements. It's either half the size of a Barnes and Noble or twice the size of a Hot Topic.
Wait, does that mean I can fit 4 Hot Topics in the average Barnes and Noble?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that with or without a cafe?
Yeah. I like to measure everything in Vespas.
I mean, 7,000 Vespas equals 1 Barnes and Noble.
Yeah.
And again, that's a very important question. Does that count the space of the cafe? Because the cafe is Starbucks.
It's true.
Oh,
I used to work in the cafe.
You can check out there. What's that? Who works?
So you could check out there. Wait, who's the jerk that checks out all of their half-read books at the cafe?
I'll do it.
There's no line?
Like 1 or 2 things. I'll do the alternate checkout, like there or the kind.
I get it. That's like when you have like 2 groceries, just 2 things, and you're also getting scratch offs. So you go pay for all of your stuff at customer service at the grocery store. I get it. But I mean, if you bring all your stuff and not get a coffee.
No. As like a trick to be able to get your 48 items there.
Are you trying to tell us to start talking about the... Yeah, I know. I get you.
How are you not getting my hint?
Oh, I get it.
Did you want us to talk about buying Joker War at the Barnes & Noble copy?
Oh, you son of a bitch. Let's move on to Batman number 95. The Joker War has begun. Oh, wait. We already did. Okay, so I was about to ask about Batgirl, but Noel and I did an advanced Thunder Round. Of both Batman 95 and the Batgirl from this week. So if you want to know what we thought about the Batgirl, go check that out on the YouTube channel. So basically we have the Joker War has begun here. After Tom King left, we had a smattering of issues from, was it Tinian, right?
Yes, James Tinian IV.
Thank you.
From 86 on.
Yeah. And that has been leading us up to the Joker War. There's been a couple of other tie-in issues with like Nightwing number 70, number 71, etc. But here we are, part 1 of the Joker War, and it is by James Tinian IV and Jorge Jimenez. It was always going to come to this. The Clown Prince of Crime and the Dark Knight detective go head-to-head for the last time. The Joker has never wanted to win before. He's never wanted his battle with Batman to end, but now his motivation has shifted. He has decided that one way or another, this will be the final chapter to their story. Joker War begins here. My problem with this is that no, it won't. It won't end here. It would never end.
I was going to say this is the first time I've heard. Is this the last time that they're...
Hey! Hi, buddy.
Hey, what's up? How y'all doing? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Okay, cool.
So we're about to talk about Joker War. And so, the thing I was about to say is that the problem with the Joker and the Batman, and anytime a Joker story comes up, it feels like it has no teeth for me. It's all about like, what sort of damage is the Joker going to do that's not going to be immediately fixed within a year? You know what I mean? Back during the death of the family, I guess, what, is that when they cut off Alfred's hand?
Yeah.
Yeah. That didn't stick.
It was fixed when he died.
Yeah.
Right. We'll come back soon.
Batman and the Joker both died, and then they were brought back by some crazy metal, I guess. So it's really about how well crafted is the story within this that, whether or not the repercussions last? Why is everyone cackling?
Glenn has
Hey,
a real
look,
shirt on today.
Glenn has a real shirt on today.
Good work, Glenn.
What? What I do?
Apparently, you have a real shirt on.
In the comments, Christopher St. Sassy.
Oh,
Hey, look, Glenn has a shirt on today.
Yo,
He was wearing a tank top at one point, I think.
yeah,
It was funny. It's a non sequitur. It's funny.
cool.
I also
Funny.
think of, Len refers to where he is at the Batcave all the time. And in this issue, there's like mini Bat caves in the Wayne Tower, and Len's in a different spot than he usually is. I think just to relate to that part of this one issue.
He was a system of bat tribble caves.
Yes.
Oh, if only that was it.
JD, my apologies.
We're back.
What? Did I do something? What? What?
No, and I did
I'm
something.
waiting for literally anyone to talk about the book.
I talked about it earlier this week. I actually thought that this was a fun issue, but because the last arc's reveal with the designer and stuff, all of those like new characters that were being introduced, and it was kind of nifty. It was interesting, at least, especially when the art changed.
Do
But
you want to spoil that?
no, I'm not going to spoil it. Well, it's just that all of that was revealed to be just a preamble or setup for this.
I got it.
And then this first like jump off issue it read pretty weak because it was 10 issues of a lead up. And then this, it's like the first issue of an event is like, I mean, I guess that's cool.
Like
It was
Empire?
exactly how Empire happened. Yeah. Like it was instead of it, because they're leading into these events so much longer now, what should feel like being shot out of a cannon just feels like a sparkler now.
Yeah.
Which is what this felt like. There was nothing wrong with it. The art was gorgeous. There was a couple of really good beats. I like what they're doing with Bruce. They're literally taking everything away from him, which is pretty cool. Because before, like you said, it was just like take a family member, kidnap this person, remove a hand. But now it's just like, no, we're gonna take his money. We're gonna take literally all of his assets and close the world around him, which I thought was pretty cool. But it just felt like another Zero issue. It was just like, all right, cool. Just wake me up when something big happens.
That isn't interesting. Come to think of it, I can't think of a single time that's been done with Batman other than The Dark Knight Rises, right? In the movie.
In the movies?
That was my immediate thought was The Dark Knight Rises, which automatically puts a bad taste in my mouth because I hate that movie.
But I could see like that storyline, even because you didn't get justice to it in that movie, maybe in a comic story. You know what I mean? Could be interesting as long as he gets his money back at some point. But I'll tell you, I found the thesis of this story to be a little unusual, and maybe it's because I didn't read the lead up. But could the Joker involve himself in a corporate takeover of, who is he signing those papers? Who is like, all right, now you're in charge of Wayne Enterprises? Was that addressed? Okay.
It is addressed. There's a character who was introduced a couple issues ago called the Underbroker, who essentially is a lawyer / banker for the entirety of the underground. The underground in Gotham City. Yeah, he's the guy in the red suit, and then he puts the mask on. The lead into this was what's her name? Catwoman was trying to move funds. So like they figured out the Joker was trying to do this or was about to do this. Mm-hmm. So him on his end went to Wayne Enterprises to try and stop it. And then she went to the Underbroker to try and move her assets, I think, to like overbid or some craziness like that. And they betrayed her. So like the Underbroker was in on it. And then in this issue, they kind of make allusions to every time somebody breaks the story that the Joker is taking over Wayne Enterprises and is actually the owner now and blah, blah, blah. They'll pay off the media. They'll bombard the reporters with lawsuits. That's all been kind of in here about how they're trying to constantly misinform the public that this is happening.
That sounds so familiar.
Yeah. Yeah, but that guy, the Underbroker, he's like He's like the middle management supervillain that's kind of facilitating all of this happening.
And he basically is just wearing the mask from Watchmen HBO, right?
Yeah. I don't know if he's a new character or not, honestly.
I've never heard of him before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was something that was so willy-nilly introduced. I wasn't sure if it was, if I should have known.
Hey, Bat Tribble.
Yo, what's up?
What'd you think of this issue?
The art on this book is amazing. It's beautiful artwork. I want so much more of it. It's good stuff. It's good timing. It's good storytelling. I just don't give a damn about this story. Like you said, it sounds like I had whiffs of the Dark Knight in my as I was reading it as well. It's like we've been here before. And not only have we been here before as far as the story, but we also have been here before with Batman in a flashback lamenting about how many bodies he's letting the Joker rack up before he's got to solve this with his hands. I was like, how many times are you going to solve this with your goddamn hands and you don't solve a goddamn thing? I think I would have enjoyed this if this was another character besides the Joker. I think I am definitely on Joker overload. I feel like the Joker comes back like once every 2 or 3 storylines. And even then, even when he's not in the storyline, he's always in the background. I think I would have liked it if they took the underbroker and maybe just made, if he's so smart to be the lawyer, then he should have been so smart to do all of this, on his own. You know what I mean? Or so I would have been fine with him as the villain. I would have been fine. It's curious. It's funny. I just read a story where somebody was going back over the 1970s when Steve Englehart had brought Hugo Strange back into the comic book stories. Hugo Strange would have been a great character to be pulling this off, as someone who at one time did discover Batman's secret identity and went to his grave with it. You know what I mean? That would have been great. It's like I'm just on Joker overload, and I don't care how good this guy draws the Joker. I just can't find myself giving a fuck because at the end of the day, Batman ain't going to do but so much but, triumph, but the Joker is going to essentially get the fuck away.
Oh, he said it twice. He's so mad.
We're not PG anymore.
I don't disagree with you.
Not? I'm sorry. Apologize.
I think you can say it once, right? On PG-13.
Yeah.
You can say it once. PG-13. Yeah.
Randy,
go ahead.
Randy was in the other day, and he was saying something that I agree with, but would never ever happen. It's up on the screen now. I told JD the other day this would end perfectly with the Joker dying for good, period, forever. Never.
No. The Joker has had all of his sidekicks tortured. He's killed one of his sidekicks, and he has murdered half of Gotham.
Yeah.
And he hasn't died. So if Batman was to murder the Joker because, oh my God, he stole my wallet, that would be that would be like so much like overkill. It'd be like, get the hell out of here. No, it will not happen. Jason, who? Where's the money?
Yeah.
Oh, that was good, Len. Oh,
I mean, as long as I'm down to finish this arc. I want to know what they're making allusions to such big moves, and I truly doubt that. However, I do really like Tinian, and I love Jorge Jimenez's art, so I'm down to try it. But as soon as they bring back that effing Bat Luge, I'm out. I'm dropping it.
I want more Bat Luge.
No, there was no point to that. That's the dumbest vehicle they ever batitized, and I count the Bat Copper, the Bat Surfboard, the Bat the luge is the dumbest thing.
This is not
the street luge is the dumbest thing. I would rather have Bat roller skates.
Did you guys watch Batman Brave and the Bold?
Yes.
For a chunk.
I have all of it. Yeah. And when they get into the whole Batmite is trying to get them canceled and making it like a bad show, they have the Bat luge in there.
That's awesome.
And let's go.
I wonder
Well,
if
they
that
were-
was just
they were
a
right.
reference, like, throwing something fun in there and seeing if he could make
Maybe.
it work. You know what I mean?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. And these are all problems, what I'm talking about, and I think what Len is talking about are the same problems we have with mainstream superhero comic books, which is the cyclical nature, the resetting of everything. Nothing ever moves forward for any extended period of time. And that's just something we come to expect and accept in our comic books. This is no different than literally any other superhero comic doing the same thing. And I am enjoying the story. I don't buy into the hype of like, this is the, I was specifically referencing the diamond thing where it says, one way or another, this is the final chapter to their story. No, it's not. So don't blow that smoke up my skirt, because I'm not buying it. But I am enjoying the story as it unfolds. And certainly the art by Jorge Jimenez is just so delicious. What do you guys think of this new costume and the mystery behind it?
Yeah, who made it? Ooh.
Alfred would be my guess. That would be my guess, but I don't know. Who knows?
I know. I saw that there was a lot of hubbub. One of those comic book news sites had posted up Batman's new costume, and everyone flipped out about how terrible and ugly it was. And it was like, it's not his new costume. He's just, it's a mystery. Right?
He'll be in it. He'll be in it by the end of this arc. It's like Chekhov's costume. You don't introduce it and not get in it.
The ensign from Star Trek, the gold uniform.
Yeah.
What do you think of her?
She's a person.
Punchline.
I like Harley Quinn where she's at now, and so it's nice to have that instead.
Yeah,
that's how
it's basically like when Batman gets a new Joker. Sorry, a new Robin.
Yeah, she's and there's no illusions that she's anything more than a homicidal sociopath. Like, even her origin was just, I just wanted to impress my favorite murderer. Like, there's no like tragic origin in there.
Yeah,
at least so far. Like, she's so it's like they want to. Yeah, they don't want to humanize her at all, which is cool, I guess. Like, let's just make her a murderer.
Yeah. But so just real quick, I want to ask the Bat Tribble. What's the last Batman story you liked?
The last Batman story I liked. Now, let me ask you, do you mean just a pure Batman story or in the arc of his ongoing book?
I think two.
Yeah, the second. Because it's starting to be your motto that you don't give up.
I think the last Batman story I like Batman White Knight. I enjoyed that a lot. I did. I enjoyed that a great deal. And I think the last Batman story that's like Batman was probably interesting.
Did you wait? Did you like Court of Owls? Just that first 10 issues of Snyder's run?
I didn't mind Court of Owls. I didn't like fall in love with it like everybody, but I didn't mind it. I like Batman. What is it? Is it a Batman Adventures or Batman
Universe? I was gonna say like
Batman Universe.
Oh,
yeah. I like Batman Universe. Okay. I like pretty much every story I've read in there. But and I know that technically is Batman, but it kind of is not Batman. So I don't know whether or not that counts.
Yeah.
What about
everything on my shelf for inspiration?
The Batman Superman. I mean, does that count for this or no? Did you like that, Nick Barrington?
Yeah, but like that's like 2 issues.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a run. It wasn't even a whole art. It was just like 2 issues of like cool.
For real, it's 2 issues of goodness.
Yeah. What about the Superman Batman, like the Superman Batman, the old one, the Loeb McGinnis one? That was kind of fun. For the first like 13 issues. Hey.
There were some fun issues in there. There was especially the one where
trying to see like,
Pacheco drew, where they were fighting the Legion of Supervillains, and they like were all of a sudden like killing everybody because it jumped into the future. There was some fun stuff there. But that's how many years ago? I mean, we're going back quite a bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was just curious. Let's move on to Empire number 2. Let's see. Where's my notes? Al Ewing, Dan Slott with art by Valerio Schiti. 3 Avengers are trapped on the moon as war breaks out on Earth and an ancient enemy reveals a scheme decades in the making. Meanwhile, the FF fight against a creeping horror that might destroy them all, starting with the Thang. Captain Marvel is their last best hope, but if Carol Danvers survives, what will she become? Noel had sort of touched on this earlier, where because there were so many lead-ins into the book, the first issue felt a little bit like there was not a lot of pop. It was more fizzle. It was still good. I was still engaged and interested. And things are ramping up here. I am enjoying this series as a whole, and I really like the scene was that from this issue? The Thor scene?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Where he calls it down. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's the sound of my open hand.
Yeah.
bruh.
I love his line also, the callback line, where
Yay.
he's like, no, I say the yay.
Yeah. There was like 2 pages of like, ooh, that's good Thor dialogue. That's fun.
Yeah, and it was funny too. Like the sound of my open hand. I know that in his context that's the sound of the hammer coming, but it almost sounded like that's the sound of my open hand. Slap. This issue was rad.
It was fun.
And it was even more rad reading the tie-ins this week because the tie-in revealed. Was it last week? The one that revealed. Oh no, this week. This week's tie-ins, the Hulkling one. I don't know if you guys got a chance to read it. It explicitly showed you one of these main characters that is not on the level. And that made more sense with some of the pieces of dialogue in here. Like, oh shit!
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah, it does. I actually read it too. I did read that because
I'm sorry.
I read all the wrong books. So yes, I did read
Wait,
that.
what issue?
It was the
Emperor
Lord
Hulkling.
Hulkling one.
Oh, all right. So
Yeah,
that's
it was
the
like-
important one.
I mean,
I think it's called the Lords of Empire, and then it's Hulkling. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, by Chip Zdarsky and Oliveira. I forget the artist's name.
do we want to hear
Manuel Garcia. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, do you guys want me to tell you what you missed?
I do. JD.
I don't.
Okay. All
I
right.
want to read it. Sorry.
Okay. Well, I mean, JD,
I'll read
if it's any indication, you sent us a panel that was like, what?
Oh,
Earlier this week, and it was like, yeah, somebody's not being a good guy.
yeah.
Yeah,
Don't tell me. Don't tell me. I'm excited.
yeah.
I'm excited.
But it made this whole turn with not turn. It made this whole development with Captain Marvel kind of cool. Like she's the new accuser.
Yeah.
That goes deeper now, which is pretty rad. I'm actually interested to see how that turns out.
Do they all have hammers though, or is that just like Ronin's hammer? The other
It's just Ronin's.
They don't have hammers.
I think they don't. The other accusers just have their own kind of specialty weapon.
Do
Like
they?
the hammer is Ronin's, but I feel
Okay.
like there was like a mallet one and a like. And there's not that many accusers, is there?
I don't know.
I don't know how many accusers there are. No.
There's always 2.
Christopher says, "Don't tell me that. I was just thinking maybe I could just get the main book and not the 50 million tie-ins." Now,
I think
Noel, did you read all the tie-ins this week?
I read Emperor Hulkling and X-Men.
Okay. But
I read Emperor Hulkling, and I think wasn't there the Avengers tie-in too?
I started that one, but I was like, no, I don't feel like it.
Yeah, you were smart. Yeah, I read that too.
Would you guys all agree that the Emperor Hulkling is the one from this week besides Empire to read?
In regards to the main thrust of this plot,
Yeah,
I'm
it's like most important.
sure. Other than that one turn, everything else that happened to it is just inside Freddy's head stuff that you got from all the other lead-ins, like how he said goodbye to Billy, the choice he had to make to lead them, and how hard it would be, and friends won't understand until it's over if I win. Like, it's really just character stuff. Is it integral to the plot? Because I'm sure that what was revealed there is going to be in the main book eventually. Right now, it's not.
That's what I was going to say.
So-
Like, I think it definitely is a good read, but
Yeah.
I think the main bits of it, I think, are kind of like already in the main book. I mean, to be honest, I can't speak about but the person that we learn about, I was always iffy about anyway. So you really are just getting some validation of about, you know, what was creeping up the back of your neck anyway. So I could have read the book, the main book, without it and been fine. And I do think that the main book itself is so much fun that you could just get lost in the story and let's just get watched with. I think it would be fine without buying the tie-ins.
Okay.
This event feels like it feels a little bit like Siege, one of those events that's like mostly just fun, not like we're gonna rip the world apart. Like it's just like fun. I mean, I think War of the Realms is better so far, but this is kind of on par with like we're not going to destroy the whole universe and you don't have to read 4,000 books. This is just really fun. Actually, the last couple of events have been like that. Absolute Carnage, you could have completely ignored, but if you didn't, it was really fun. Yeah. War of the Realms, you could have completely ignored, but if you didn't, it was really fun. Like I feel like that's what they're doing now, which is kind of a cool niche.
Yeah, not everything has to be a crisis. No, I agree with everything you're saying. The reason I zoomed in on this, I still don't like the way Valerio Schiti draws. Fantastic for whatever reason.
You know, I think that's kind of similar even to what you were talking about with Batman, JD.
Can you go to the panel again? I'm gonna recreate it.
They have to go head to head against the Joker. There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, he's awful. Just awful.
No, we'll come up with a plan. A sciencey one. I think it's similar to what you're talking about with the Joker. Like, these events I see as being kind of like, what if there was a Joker story where he's just going up against somebody and it's not gonna affect Batman's life at all. He just wants to stop the Joker from killing some other people. You know what I mean? With the cyclical, is this metaphor coming through? Whereas this, you know, like a big event is kind of like the Joker going head to head with Batman for the 19,000th time. Yeah. Whereas
at least in this instance though, at the very least, they've they've created at least a different paradigm when it comes to the Kree and the Skrull. So the Kree and the Skrull I don't think they've never tried an alliance. It's always been some sort of battle between the middle of them and deciding who's a good and the bad guy at the moment, which is almost always the Skrulls. So at least that's slightly different. Now, I think that the main crux of this whole thing is going to be that alliance is shaky as shit and or it will not last.
Maybe. Yeah.
But at least it's a new conflict. Yeah.
That's like a background thing.
I was trying to engage without ruining the conversation, and
I heard it. I saw you randomly muting each of our mics to see which one was giving the echo, and I was just like, it's not me, so I'm good.
But I think also, like the Kree Skrull new status or whatever, that's not everything you knew is wrong, or we're changing the whole status. So that's like, you know, there's no Kree Skrull book out there. That kind of thing. No. And I like that. You know, I think it deepens something, it changes something that's off to the side. That's very cool. And it explores, like, it's an interesting exploration. I
like it.
Yeah. I like this Hulkling's sword. Oh, it's the same page. You got up already.
Hey, there it is.
That sword is so rad.
It's an awesome sword, and it cuts through things without cutting through them, which I always thought was that's like a cool magic sword thing to do, you know?
Yeah, it's the space sword. You could literally cut through and in between atoms with it. It's almost like it knows what you want to hit, so you don't have to be good with it.
It feels like if you're gonna have a magic sword, that's exactly what you want it to do. Cut things.
There was a second half to that sentence, and I feel it's unfair.
Brian is like, it gets through things. Like, yeah.
Is this a good time to go completely off script and just for 2 seconds talk about how cool X-Men Empire was?
I've been making this up.
This book is rad as hell.
Oh!
And it has to do with, like, reading the tie-ins. Do they matter to the main book? No. But this is cool as hell. Like,
nice.
Here, you know what? I'll show you one. No, you know what? No. It's dumb and awesome and fun, and it starts with Scarlet Witch doing something she shouldn't have done.
Ooh.
That's new. And that's what ties into the X-Men books. The fact that they have talked about her, and what was it in Hickman's where they refer to her as the imposter, because she's not really that was in one of the Hickman books. Where it's just like, you mean the imposter? Like, no, we don't kill, blah, blah, blah. But the imposter does something terrible or ill-advised, and then that comes to fisticuffs with the invading Katati army. And it's just like, what the hell is happening? This is awesome. It's really cool. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that the other books are at least worth a read, because I wasn't sure. When I saw Lords of Empire, Emperor Hulkling on my order list, I was like, I don't know.
I have decided to only attack these side stories and tie-ins merely based on the creative team. Yeah. I do not feel like I have to read all of it, but if I want to read Hickman and Teenie Howard write an X-Men story, I will buy that. Cool. If I want to see Chip Zdarsky, what story he has to tell about Hulkling, I'll read that. But the Jim Zub Avengers one, I had no interest. The Dan Slott Fantastic Four, I was like, I don't really like this. I'm not going to pick up the next one. Like, just go by what you feel, guys.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I will do that. Now that you have told me the other books are good, I will now read them. Let's move on to Justice League Dark, number 26 by Ram V and Aman K. Nahopen. Aman K. Nahopen. I'm sorry for butchering your name. At last, Justice League Dark's mission reaches the moment fans have been waiting for. Their descent into the other place. As a reborn Swamp Thing, Wonder Woman, and Zatanna sharpen their swords and spells to battle the Upside Down Man. But Zatanna has more than just cards up her sleeve. The team discovers her burning secret, while Detective Chimp must come to terms with his own role within Team Dark. Does all of that sound like what happened in the issue to you guys?
It's a vague, foggy retelling of what these are getting to be like. Should we even read the Diamond introductions that are about some other book that wasn't produced?
So this is I think I read the first issue of Justice League Dark.
Yeah.
And then this is the second issue I've read of Justice League Dark.
We read that annual, remember, where the Parliament of Flowers, it was really cool. There was that.
Not me.
You didn't read that one? Oh.
Nope. You guys thought it was good, and I was like, I should read that, and then I never did.
You read it. Okay.
Yeah, the Floronic Man one, right?
Yeah.
That was fine.
That art, I really liked the art in it, and it plays in. I guess it still matters. They're talking about the other parliaments, and Swamp Thing had some flowers on him, and I'm guessing he has joined up. I don't know what other parliaments there are, but
Yeah, they mentioned that in this issue, the other parliaments, and I was like, there's other ones? What?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, if it's any consolation, you said we're reviewing number 26, but the book says it's number 24. So is it possible that we were reading the solicitation for the wrong issue?
That's my bad. I wrote 26 on there, but then I had it wrong, and I bought the solicitation from 24. That's the right solicitation. It's the wrong number.
Okay. Well, then.
Notes bad. Notes bad hard.
But to be fair, it kind of sounds like what's happened. I mean, the book kind of reads like it's all prelude to them about to go do something. You know what I mean? And then you find out that Zatanna's got, she really wants to go and get her dad, which this is the most that's ever been done with Zatara since, I don't know, ever. In the comics anyway. Exactly,
This art.
So I mean,
the first thing I noticed was the art style. I think is fantastic. This art is really tight.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
Good art. It's good storytelling.
Christopher St. Saucy says, at least it's not Yannick Paquette. Are you insane?
Yannick Paquette. Yo, Yannick Paquette is a beast, dog. Get that.
I didn't really care about this.
Oh, okay. Tell us why.
About the book?
I like Zatanna. Yeah, the story. I like Zatanna, but she's, hard hitting, irrational Zatanna right now. and I don't exactly know why. This was just jumping in.
Yeah.
Something about John. Are they a couple? Have they been a couple now?
They
I know
were,
they
yeah.
were in the cartoons. Okay.
Yeah.
The stuff with Diana felt a little off. Like, is she really at a point where she's that doubtful about her leadership skills? Like, she ruined all these people and can't lead them. I didn't know that was going on right now.
I mean, that's what I gather from the storytelling.
Yeah, but it felt off. Meh. And then what really kind of felt weird was the Swamp Thing bit. Like, that felt like I'm gonna insert this story point that doesn't feel like it belongs at all. And maybe it's been happening for the last like 22 issues.
I think
But
so.
it felt like it didn't belong in this issue at all. Like 2 pages, one of this Man-Bat steals a piece of him and he's been testing it, and we just get this like dropped off a cliff reveal, and then it goes away. Like, it felt like a weird.
I think that's a function of us not having read the last. That was my understanding. Was
sure.
Like Detective Chambers going around and checking in with everybody,
Mhm.
and so we're getting a little bit of something that was going on and will be going on. That's
What we have here is the in-between issue. Like, Captain Marvel last week was the game night issue in between story arcs. And this is sort of checking up with where everyone is after the last story arc and sort of leading us into the next story arc, right, Brian?
Yeah, and I didn't super love that either.
Well, I was gonna make a joke and say that it was a classic 24th issue.
Nice.
24 is a multiple of 6.
I thought that's what JD was gonna do. Actually.
Right.
Yeah, it's one of those classic in between issues, like a 7th issue. But those are usually like more so to your example of Captain Marvel. Those are more so completely out of what's happening in the main plot, and it's like a come together or a game night or a baseball game or it's a completely side thing, not reference literally like, and it's not just like making a comment, like they're progressing the plot, and it was just, I just wasn't super interested in it. Like, the art's awesome, there's nothing really wrong with it, but I don't like this version of Zatanna. And the Upside Down Man, I have no idea what he is. I guess he's from way early. He was like the first arc of this book, right? I remember the imagery. He seems really cool.
Long-running villain in this series.
Yeah.
No, it's just didn't really scratch an itch. Let me know if it gets better, or let me know if it gets so amazing that you got to invest more time in this. But as of right now, it just didn't grab me.
Fair enough. Len.
Yeah, it's a book. I don't care about Justice League Dark. I don't. First of all, I hate the title. Like, Justice League Dark. This does not need to be the Justice League. Like, just rubs me the wrong way. I'm tired of all this Justice League, this West Coast Avengers, that, all that type of stuff.
Fair, I mean, that's just the marketing of the book. They don't call themselves JL Dark or anything, right? Like, it's
I think they do.
Oh, do they?
I haven't read that they do that, so I can't say that they do or can't say that they don't. I'm just saying, just the fact that it is marketed under that, I just don't like it. But the book itself, it's like, I think, we haven't read them, so you're not super invested in these characters. I like Zatanna.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily mind what they're doing with Zatanna. I'm curious to see where they go with it. They're doing something with Wonder Woman. Okay, that's fine. I'll ride with it. It doesn't maybe make sense that she doesn't know she's doubting herself as a leader when she is shown as a badass leader in the Justice League. But there she's leading a totally different group of people who are used to working with one another, people who are comfortable in their own skins and with their own powers. These are different type of people that she has to learn how to relate to. So I do kind of like buy that. So I'll ride with that. But at the end, and while I think the art is good, I don't think the art is like super amazing, especially now that someone has referenced Yannick Paquette. Now all I want to do is just see Yannick Paquette draw this. But at the end of the day, it's good enough. But it honestly just made me long for something more, like Zatanna in her own book Dr. Fate
I missed that.
with the Justice Society. That's what it made me long for.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I did look it up really
But
quick.
it's cool seeing
Peter,
Detective Chimp.
Yeah,
Peter-
it was great.
when this premiered in New 52, Peter Milligan made a point to never call them Justice League Dark in the stories, but that's a rule that they've since broken in other books too. So like, you know, they're Dark Squad or you're this or you're that. Like, so they do refer to them as like the Dark Team or the Magic
The
Team.
Dark
Yeah, it's weird.
Team. Oh God.
I mean, it's up to other writers though. Like if they're referring to it in another book, like
Right.
Diana, you've been off with your Dark Team, like shit like that. Yeah.
Christopher says, not a fan of Yannick Paquette personally, and I don't understand why they keep giving him covers. Probably because literally everyone else involved in this conversation went, "You're insane. He's great."
Personally, though, makes me think that maybe he cut you in line or something, or you
Yeah.
had a really bad experience with him, which I
That
respect.
is fantastic, but I hate him.
I respect. Yeah, like his art's great, but he, tripped me once. He's a dick. Like I get that. That's actually
Ripped me
that's
once.
fair. I respect that.
It doesn't need to be the Justice League Dark. It should be Shadow Pact. But while I enjoyed it to begin with, I gave it up during COVID along with a bunch of other DC books. Yeah, if you called this book Shadow Pact, it wouldn't be selling, I think. I think
That's
this
true.
is all about
That's
how do we get people to buy this book? We put the word Justice League on it, and then they go, "Oh, look, a Justice League book. Let me try it out." I think if Shadow Pact was on the shelves, people would skip right over it.
Absolutely.
Which I understand. So the reason I want to like a Justice League Dark book, and I'll tell you because I like John Constantine, I like Zatanna, and now starting like a month or two ago, I care about Swamp Thing. It's a new thing for me. So I came here for John Constantine and Swamp Thing for the most part. And I didn't get either of them, except for that one page that Noel mentioned. Because John has left to go off, I guess, do some drinking. And this Zatanna, I understand she's this way because her father is being tortured in a hell dimension of some sort. So I get maybe she's not the most tickled kind of character to be around. So I did enjoy this, but not as much as I want to enjoy a Justice League Dark book. I feel like it's right up my alley. And for some reason, no matter, I've dipped in a couple of times and it just doesn't grab me enough to keep me, which is a shame. Yeah. All right. We're running out of time. Daredevil number 21, Chip Zdarsky with Marco Cicchetto. I'm changing the banners. That's why we need Brandon to do this. Here we go. 4 weeks. Hell's Kitchen has been a lawless neighborhood thanks to the Stromwyn siblings, but as the police are finally able to resume their patrols, they're quick to find that they aren't the only one interested in keeping the kitchen safe. Meanwhile, as Matt Murdock continues to struggle with how best to appease his sense of justice after the events of the past several weeks, a familiar enemy takes root in Hell's Kitchen. I haven't read, I don't think, a single issue of this run, but having a Marco Cicchetto art style on this book was enough to get me to go, we should check in. We should read this. So, Len, did you read this?
No, I only skimmed through it, so I didn't get a chance to read it.
All right, Noel.
This was rad.
Yeah.
Somebody very recently asked me who my favorite character is in Marvel. And I wasn't able to answer the question, yet I looked at my shelf and I've got so much Daredevil.
Yeah.
I've got 4 different Daredevil runs, but I've never considered him my favorite character. So I'm like, oh shit, maybe Daredevil's my favorite.
Daredevil.
So I love, I had not been reading this run. So I, with an open mind, jumped into issue 21. A lot of people have been talking about it too.
Mm-hmm.
This was awesome. This was just super rad. And I will go back and read this. This I didn't need to know every single detail about what happened in the last 20 issues, because this as it stands was just a very fun and quick exploration of the character. They gave him an impossible decision, no real way out, and then Foggy jumps in and gives some sort of solution, and now you've got this brand new conflict that seems really fun. I'm like, okay, this is nifty. How they keep coming up with new stories to tell with Daredevil, I have no idea how that's happening, but it's great.
Are they?
I posit that they haven't. This is the same story that I read a couple years ago where, oh no, Daredevil has to go. He goes to jail. Yeah, we did that.
No, not that part.
Let me finish.
Sorry.
Brian Michael Bendis and Ed Brubaker, they took him to jail. He faced the consequences of his actions. Things went poorly for him, as things always do for Daredevil. And then they wrap that up. Oh my God, everyone knows that Daredevil is Matt Murdock. How's he going to get out of this? They did. They put that genie back in the bottle. So now we're going, oh, Daredevil has consequences of his actions. He's going to turn himself in for murder. He has to reveal, unveil his identity to this prosecutor who he's worked for, and he had a bad reaction to it. This is, again, what the Joker wore earlier, cyclical storytelling. We just saw this. This doesn't feel fresh or new to me. That being said, I also really enjoyed it. I just have an issue with, like, they're telling new stories with Daredevil.
They are. He's like, Daredevil has never been on trial. The whole point of this was that they are putting the costume character on trial based off of the Mark Waid introducing the idea that those in a costume can be witnesses, legal witnesses on trial. So they create this kind of scenario where if Matt Murdock goes to trial for Daredevil's crimes, even though they're the same person, everything he's done as a lawyer is gone. So they're using this legal loophole in the Marvel universe to put just the costume on trial. That is new, and that was what was exciting to me. Not Matt might go to jail. Like, I want to see a courtroom drama with this shit. I think that would be really, really cool. That's what got me excited.
My problem with that is I don't buy that the legal system would let a person in a costume come in and testify under oath as a person in a costume's name. It just feels like a bridge too far of what the legal system would allow, despite the legal system in real life being fucked up.
I mean, to me, it's almost the same. It's an extrapolation of the same argument where allowing somebody to wear a burqa on their legal ID because that is their identity, kind of a thing. Like those kinds of arguments. The idea that your persona, your identity is your control, your choosing, right? So like everything from gender to face covering, like it's part of your persona. And then they created, because of these people being in situations where they have to potentially have legal ramifications with their actions, without having them reveal their identities, like they could testify as a witness to a crime as their costume vigilante because they were a part of the crime.
Again, that just leads me to a costume vigilante, which is against the law, and going to testify in a court.
It's been happening in this reality. It's been
trial for you.
In this reality, it's been happening for the last 30, 40 years. So I assume it's been normalized as opposed to fucking creepy Creeperton in an alley. And I don't know what happened. Like it's fairly normalized in this world that there are costumed vigilantes that the cops just either kind of work with and or work around or against.
Yeah.
That's the part that I thought was cool.
Yeah, I liked it. So I haven't read anything that has come before this. Daredevil is not my favorite character. Like, he was always like a tier way down. But I'm like, all right, Daredevil's cool. You know, like I don't turn my nose up at a good Daredevil story, and I like him when he shows up in some cases. So I didn't find myself that invested with what was happening. But I thought it was well told and well drawn also. Like it looks great to look at. His costume, I don't know if this is the first time we've seen it, but it kind of feels... No, I like it. No, oh, yes. That took me a solid 2 minutes to figure out what the hell was going on with the little, like, triangle in his...
Got pooper.
But yeah, when he puts on the new costume, I thought that was awesome. And with the wraps around the hand, I also like how they portray his radar sense. I don't think I've ever seen it done quite like that, and I think it looks pretty cool. Doing it in red is nice. But yeah, I am not one that's usually drawn to these, like, what are the gritty real world legal ramifications of what would happen in this, you know, and now he's got to tell himself was, and I did definitely found myself thinking, like, didn't you just go to great lengths to show that you weren't Matt Murdock? And now, so what now? Are you like, oh yeah, before I was lying about that, but my testimony is credible. But don't, yeah. All in all, though, good book. I liked it. I probably won't pick it up. I do kind of want to know what's up with the Iron Daredevil guy here.
Yeah, Iron Man.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe Tony Stark will have something to say. Maybe that's just metaphoric, and Tony Stark will have something to say.
Yeah, I think it's metaphoric, but still, it's cool. It's a cool design.
It's a cool design. Yeah.
He looks more like a bull than a Daredevil.
Yeah, I could see that, or a Loki even.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Iron Bull.
Iron Bull.
The
one thing I will
cows.
The one thing I will say about Daredevil is, and I have a fair amount of Daredevil on my shelves as well, is that what I've always liked about him is that there hardly ever, at least as far as I can tell, has been a reset with Daredevil. Like, he kind of like keeps, I mean, as far as like his storyline for the most part keeps moving on. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and each story provides some type of commentary on what happened before. Even Mark Waid's run on the book was very much a commentary on Bendis and Brubaker's run before it as well, and yet it still felt like it was the same character. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And even when I dipped in between there, when and I just drew a blank on who picked up the book there after that.
Diggle. It was Andy Diggle.
Yeah, that's good.
And I read some
Shadowland.
issues of that, and some of it didn't ring true to me, and I didn't enjoy, but I like that Daredevil was always kind of like progressing forward. But what that meant, to JD's point, is that sometimes he was going to be asked to do things, or things were going to happen in his book that might contradict what happened before. And usually when that happened, it be spoken about. So him, deciding to let himself be known to the law and who he is, that's going to come to Brian's point. They're going to speak about that because he did just fight for like years to put the genie back in the bottle when he got outed before. They're going to speak. That's what I have always enjoyed about Daredevil, which I don't know if I can say that he's my favorite Marvel character either, but maybe let's no, I've got evidence to the contrary that I'm just fooling myself. You know what I mean?
It's
probably have more Daredevil than I have any other Marvel book. You know?
It's like a weird constant battle between Daredevil, Captain America, and Spider-Man. Just like the stacks just get bigger the more things that I want to read of each one.
Right.
Daredevil's in the lead right now, and I had no idea it was happening until I had to look. Yeah.
But to your point, the art on this is beautiful. Is beautiful, and it starts with the cover. Like, I would put that cover up on my wall.
That's a poster, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Margot Cicetto is fantastic.
Yeah, that is good.
He did that Punisher run with Greg Rucka. Yeah.
Well, and he also did the crossover that was like Daredevil, Punisher, and Spider-Man, where they're all after that like little tablet thing.
It's a flash drive that looks like the Fantastic Four. Yeah, it's in the whole crossover is in the Waid omnibus, the first one.
Wow. I really like that Waid one too, because it felt kind of like a reboot of the character because it was more back to his swashbuckling roots. They kept, I use that word over and over again, swashbuckling. But I like that within the confines of the story, other people were like, Matt, you are right. Like this doesn't. You're like clearly pushing things down.
Exactly.
You're trying too hard, bro. Like literally the whole first 20 issues was like, you're trying too hard and we all see it.
Which I thought was cool.
That's an interesting take.
So those are this week's books that we're talking about. Christopher St. Saucy Goodnight had requested that we do Atomic Robo Volume 3. I'm sorry, Brian, you had your hand raised?
I have a question for you. Is there such a thing as Patreon.com? Is that a website that exists that you can interact with?
It's so funny that you would just like out of nowhere grab that, and it's real. It's a real thing that you didn't.
A real website.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. if you want to help out the show, you can go to patreon.com/JohnnyDestructo and help us out with some monies. We got, I think, 3 new patrons this month.
Oh, very cool.
So thank you so much to everybody. I really appreciate it. If you want to help us out, like if one of you, I don't know, for instance, finally got some money, you got a better paying job, and maybe you're looking to spend your money on things that you really enjoy and that we bring to you, you could always help out the Patreon that way. Thank you so much for asking, Brian.
Oh, you're quite welcome. And thank you for answering.
Yeah. Atomic Robo, Volume 3. And the Shadow from Beyond Time by Brian Clevenger and Paul Enns. E-N-S. It is 1926 when H.P. Lovecraft comes calling to warn Atomic Robo of imminent doom, but the Shadow from Beyond Time escapes into the future, intersecting with our world through the 20th century. The future and history of the universe hangs in the balance as Atomic Robo teams up with Atomic Robo in a last-ditch effort to protect reality itself. So, isn't it? Oh, Brian Clevenger and Scott Wegener. There we go. Paul.
Sorry, that's script mess up number 2. If anybody else wants to do it, that's totally fine.
If more people were adding to the Patreon, Noel would do better. So
it's pretty clear.
Yeah. I keep wanting to make a joke about how we're reviewing a book specifically for the person that I was just alluding to.
I mean, you could just say it. Yeah, like this was a suggestion
from Christopher St. Saucy Goodnight. And I believe in turn, all 4 of us went, why did he want us to review this one? The third volume.
Yeah.
While I'm fiddling around, Len, did you read this? Brian, did you read this?
No, I didn't, because I read all of the wrong books.
Which book club book did you read?
Yeah.
Well, you know what, though? In the folder, there were 2 book club books.
True. It's true.
One called Book Club number 1 and one called Book Club number 2.
How would you make sense of that?
Look, if you were counting down, one goes first. If you were counting up, the other one goes first. Just there's ways.
Anyone?
Brian?
I did read it. Oh wait, sorry. I did read it. I enjoyed it. I liked the art. I like the kind of steampunk. I mean, I say kind of because he is called Atomic Robo, so he clearly is not steam powered, unless it's a misnomer. But it's that kind of like fun, light, engaging art. You know, not a lot of line work and just simple kind of stuff that I enjoy. I found, JD and I were talking before the show. I felt like there were some things here that I didn't know, but I and JD also, like, we've been reading comics long enough that is not a deal breaker. You know, that you're like, all right, this was from the previous arc, right? I don't necessarily have to read everything that came before any series. I like his attitude. I like the fact that he teams up with these scientists. That's fun. And I'm a sucker for time non-linear stories. Yeah, exactly. And everything exists at once and extrudes into, as they say in real science, right? If you were a higher dimensional being, you could pop in here and then over here, and to us it would look like teleportation, but not to you. Yeah, I thought that was cool. I thought that was awesome. And just like a fun book, like a fun read. Yeah, it's a good time.
If Hellboy and the Rocketeer had a baby.
Yeah.
And it's this book.
That's a good point.
I thought of Hellboy too.
While character screen, that door is awesome. The door that has a smaller door in it. I think that's cool.
The Atomic Robo character is very Hellboy in that it's a golem of sorts that has a incredibly nonchalant attitude about these otherworldly events happening to it, which is pure Hellboy. And this comes from the same era too, of just like treating these cosmic, crazy science things or interdimensional things like a plumber would treat a clog.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what this is, which is really entertaining, except that it has the aesthetic of like the future via the 1930s, which makes me feel like, you know, the Rocketeer. The first couple of pages, I was just like, this is slight. And then when it starts to get into the Cthulhu stuff, I was just like, okay. And then it skips ahead and you're like, well, what the fuck? They didn't resolve any of that.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit, this is great. This was a really, really great trade. I loved it. I genuinely loved it. Like, and I especially love the creature design. When the first Cthulhu shows up in the 1920s, 30s, 20s, 26, right? Something like that. Every time it gets bigger, the body of Lovecraft just kind of is flailing around its forehead.
Yeah.
I was like, this is amazing. This is like, you kept seeing the little body. And that was almost like a visual indicator of how much bigger or smaller it's getting. This was fun. This was super fun. I flew through this. I thought it would, I'm going to be honest. I thought that this was going to be a struggle to read. And it was not. Like, it was just a fun breeze. Yeah.
Nice.
I thought it was going to be a struggle to read, and then I was not disappointed in the fact that I was correct. I thought this was fine, especially the first issue. I was just like, oh no, I don't care about this at all. So it wasn't until we got the time, the character, the cyclical.
It was like issue
time.
3 is when it kind of like the first 2 is the one time frame, and then it shoots ahead. So it's not till like issue 3 that you realize like, oh shit, it's going to be like 4 time periods back and forth. Yeah.
For sure. I think that there are some fun dialogue when it comes to Atomic Robo. Like, I'm going to commit some murders or something just because, like, someone's knocking at his door. I like the way that Wegener draws Atomic Robo. Like, it's very expressive. You know, for a character that makes no expression whatsoever, the body positioning and everything works to the benefit of, giving you the emotional being of the character. But yeah, I found it was okay. I'm glad Noel loved it. I don't feel a need to ever revisit it. Interesting tidbit. I had met with Scott Wegener way back. We met at a convention, and we were talking about me inking the book for him. And that sort of fell through.
This Atomic Robo?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But it fell through. He doesn't need me. He's fine by himself. He does not need someone to come in and I think that's what it was, is like, I can either make all the money with Brian or I have to pay another inker.
Right.
Yeah, and he's doing just fine without me. This is the art's great. But yeah, as far as the character is like, well, this is Hellboy. I also don't care about Hellboy.
Chris's comments is pretty good. I felt like when he tried Hellboy, now the 2 down.
Well, this is one of my favorites. I like that it jumps through the timeline and ends with a time up. I thought you would love the H.P. Lovecraft plot. And I did. I liked that they were including real life characters.
Yeah.
What do you think about the computer? My understanding was that this creature was created by that computer, like that this creature was that computer, but also I wasn't sure about that. But just like his sort of, this computer is really evil kind of thing.
That was funny.
That was a good bit.
I thought it's just an interdimensional being that is able to breach any time that those like mathematical anomalies occur throughout all of time. Like I didn't think that they origined it so much as it was always able to breach where these things occurred because it doesn't exist in a linear fashion. And that was the whole thing of like, we have no idea where it started or ended, so we just have to get it every single time.
Right. And when
at the same time,
there, where he's like, well, there's nobody else here, so with us.
What is it? The in this story, Atomic Robo is the constant that has to be aware of all of them in order to stop it.
That was one thing that I never felt we got sufficient answer for. Why is the creature saying Robo I guess it's just because Robo is involved in his destruction. But
yeah, because the creature doesn't
more about that.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, the creature doesn't experience time linearly, so all at once. So it just always knows that this effing guy.
Right, this Robo character. There's 4 of them.
Yeah.
Come in, Now,
that's interesting.
Also, does Tesla show up ever in this book? Is that like the running gag?
Know.
No, I'm just curious. Like, is that the running gag that Tesla is always away and Robo is always like, no, everything's fine. I got to deal with this, that kind of deal.
I as much as I liked this, I don't really feel compelled to pick up trades or anything.
Same.
And I have the same relationship with Hellboy. I read Hellboy for a good chunk of time, on and off. I have a couple singles. I have the first library edition. I don't feel the need to continue the story. It's just always like, jump in, you're good. It's a nice little concept, and then you're out. Like nothing.
I feel like there's something wrong with me because I don't care about Hellboy. Like, I feel like Hellboy is a beloved character, and I love the design of him. I like the Right Hand of Doom. I love Mike Mignola's artwork, and I also like, for the majority of the stories, the people he picks to take over the art chores for him, like Duncan Fagredo. It's delicious. But there's something about the character that I find repetitive, and I have no emotional connector to that world for whatever reason.
We should. I know the comment, like the requests come from other people, but I have always been interested in potentially reading the BPRD 1940 something miniseries because it was art by Gabriel Ba, and it's just like 1945 or 1946. Maybe Hellboy's a baby at the time, but it's really just about the BPRD and a plot.
Yeah,
I'd second that.
The concept is awesome. Yeah,
I'd like to read it. I saw the movies, and I really liked the Hellboy movies, and especially the second one, actually. And
me too.
I've always thought Hellboy was cool, but I think the Frankenstein thing that we read was the only thing that I've ever read in that universe for whatever reason, Yeah,
Frankenstein Unbound, I think it was called.
Yeah,
that was pretty good too.
Yeah.
I like there's so much Hellboy content that it's hard to just be like, read it all. It's also incredibly impenetrable,
right? It's like where like you can.
It's impenetrable.
There's no indicator of where to start or how to continue the stories.
The Dark Horse has explicitly decided to make all of it all miniseries based, so you have no idea where the entry point is for the most part. So like Hellboy is like, oh, this is just this story arc, and it's like an OGN. However, it's the 6th volume and an ongoing story, and you're like, I don't know what the fuck's happening. It's impenetrable.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I know that they're doing that so that people don't see the volume 9 on the cover and go, well, I can't buy this one. I got to buy the first one. So they make it a bunch of miniseries. But you do got to buy the first one. Like jumping into volume 9, whether or not the 9 is on the cover, is still going to be confusing as hell. Christopher says there is a few great standalone stories with him going up against his nemesis, Dr. Dinosaur, and 1 or 2 where he goes up against Stephen Hawking. That's kind of neat.
Interesting.
And Tesla is around a bit, but not a lot.
All right.
It's a cute book. Yeah.
It's cute. Yeah.
It's fun to read.
The audience has some, like we're talking about Hellboy. If anybody has specifically a Hellboy, like there's that BPRD, or if there's some other, if you guys are open to somebody who's read it knows.
And the start of Hellboy is a little weird too, because like that first arc I think is written by John Byrne with art by Mignola, and then Mignola starts to write and draw himself. Yeah. And then he starts to write and draw himself.
Byrne doesn't write it. Byrne scripts it. Mignola didn't feel comfortable enough with doing the dialogue, so Byrne did the dialogue for him. And then after that first story, Mignola's like, I think I can do as good as you.
I think I could write Hellboy saying, "Damn."
Yeah,
exactly.
Crap. It's like it's always
Damn
crap.
Crap. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a cute concept. And honestly, too, the joy of all the Hellboy that I have read and liked was always the cast around him. How people react to. So it's never really about Hellboy himself is not very compelling whatsoever. He's just a cool concept that walks and says and curses. It's always how people react to him and the things that he's asked to do and like that whole thing around him. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, BPRD would be great then.
Thank you so much, Christopher St. Saucy Goodnight. I'm glad we dipped in. I've always been kind of curious about it, and I'm glad I got a chance to sit and read it. So I appreciate that. Do we remember what the next book club is going to be?
I believe it's
Lucifer.
Volume 1.
Yeah, it says so in the Dropbox. It says Lucifer.
Len, what did you think about Lucifer Volume 1?
Since you read it.
He didn't read it. He's full of shit. He didn't read it.
I didn't read that one. I gotta go though. I know I turned up late and then I've got to go, but I have to go early. I'm sorry.
I was about to throw it to you to
now
intro the Gutter Talk podcast, but all right.
I know. So enjoy these guys doing a little gutter talk just for you.
Hey,
I'm
Len,
out.
wait, real quick, if you have a minute before you go, there's one talk about this that I think you specifically would have. Did you see the Star Trek news about the Nickelodeon show? Sounds really cool from SDCC.
Yeah.
And
Below Decks.
the
Prodigy.
Yeah, it's got a cool logo, and it's like for a Nickelodeon Star Trek show. It's a group of teenagers find a derelict ship, and they go out to have adventures in that world. And what a good way to do a teenager-based show in the Star Trek universe, you know?
Yeah,
That sounds
Cool
cool.
about them just having being Starfleet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That sounds cool. I'm
Yeah.
with it. I'm with it.
Right? I was like, I'll watch that. I'll check it out. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best case scenario, it'll be like Rebels. Worst case scenario, it'll be, I don't know,
Something bad.
forgettable. Yeah.
It'll be a season.
Yeah.
That's what it'll
Right.
be.
That's about the word. Yeah. For us.
All right, bud. Thanks for hanging with us.
I'll see y'all next week, y'all. Y'all be safe.
Yeah. You too.
Nice. All right, so this is the segment called Gutter Talk, where we talk about the things around the panels, the gutters of the page, all of the news and what have you that's going on out in the entertainment world. This week is San Diego Comic-Con, or was supposed to be San Diego Comic-Con, but because of COVID and everything that's going on, is it called just SDCC at home or something? What's the hashtag?
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. SDCC at home.
With the at symbol, in case that is relevant to somebody looking
Cool.
it up. Yeah.
This was, Noel was like, we should talk about it. I have paid little to no attention to what's been going on from San Diego Comic-Con, other than one of my favorite creators, Terry Moore, who created Strangers in Paradise, Rachel Rising, Echo, 5 Years, etc. He did a pre-recorded panel that he streamed, and I've got that saved to go watch later. That's kind of all I really found out. And Noel was nice enough to tell me about the 2020 Summer Convention Limited Edition exclusive Cyborg Superman pop that I specifically went to Target to get. And what happened is there was one hidden behind some stuff, and the box is damaged. There's like it's all dented up. You probably can't see it, but it's a little dented up. And it was covered in children's chocolatey fingerprints. So I got them to give me a little bit of a discount, and I picked it up and I cleaned it off, and I'll probably crack it open and take them out. I'm not doing it.
Well, hang on. I don't like. You could always just get one of those containers and just like keep it in the box so the box doesn't get hurt anymore. I have one or two of them.
Really?
Yeah, they have
the box.
I mean,
do you guys like? There's something about it being in the box that I still like.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what it is?
it's great.
I'll tell you why. Give me just a second.
1 second. All right. Now, while I have you guys, let's see what else is going on. Hey, Stargirl's pretty sweet. I finished Brave New World. Hey, they're back.
I took Cassidy out of his box from Preacher, and he constantly falls over. So there's something about having him in the box that at least.
So I got like the Chase Flurkin, but you've got these like hard cases that you could buy. It's like $6 or $7 to protect the box. Yeah,
look at that.
Now, JD, my question is this you want to put it in one of those cases for sale, or for you are keeping that Cyborg Superman?
I want
to take it out of the box. I'm not an inbox guy. They got to be real out in the world.
Oh, but he's going to fall over a bunch.
Well, that's a problem. But is there a stand that you can put him on?
Yeah.
They should make a stand, but I don't think they have holes in the bottom of their feet like other action figures.
They make little stands that just like clip on the back.
Yeah.
I think they're kind of cool in the box. There's only like one or two that I've taken out of the box and just like put on my desk at work. But usually you do have to like lean it up against something because they're top heavy. But
weirdly.
So when he comes back, I'll just he's got to open the store, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Although somebody was that was probably for the
her
hair cutting that was also around there. Yeah.
So it was a relatively quiet Comic-Con, obviously, because everything was digital and from home, and a lot of movie companies opted to stay out of it because essentially all the news that all the studios had was that they're delaying everything. So there's no announcements. Like they can't even announce what's happening next year to get all the hype started because that's this year's slate that's just pushed over to next year. So there's like no actual studio news. However, there was a couple of really cool things. So I pulled comics, some television news, and some movie stuff that did happen. And I figured I would just like toss shit out and you guys could just react to it.
Sure.
Like that sounds cool. That's stupid. That's great. So what do you want first?
Just if I forget, one thing that didn't get on your list that I wanted to see what you guys thought, but just to put it in the queue.
Action figure expert says chocolate fingerprints. What the?
So why don't you just say it?
Yeah, I'll say it right now. Did you guys see the clip of Superman, black suited Superman?
Yeah, whatever. It was literally 2 seconds long. I didn't put it on the list for a reason.
I didn't even put it on the
list. For whatever reason, I was like, ooh, I just liked his manner in those 2 seconds. And I got to tell you, I am way more excited for this, and I think I'll like it more than had it come out as the movie. If it came out as the movie, I would be like, it's too dark. I'm not too into it. But I liked it.
That rationale sounds like Stockholm syndrome. If let's say all you wanted was a hug.
All right.
But in response, somebody came and kicked you in the nuts.
I wouldn't like that as much.
Right?
Yeah.
But then 5 years later, they're like, hey, about that nut kick, I'm going to pat you on the back now because you wanted a hug to start. And you're super excited about being patted on the back.
Sounds good.
Like it's still not what you needed, but it's better than being kicked in the nuts.
I hear you. I think
I'm not gonna get excited about like seeing what was in a trailer from the start. Like they showed that, and other than him in the black suit, they showed like the glass, like the very first trailer of the movie 5 years ago. They showed like the glass moving and Alfred saying like, he told me you'd come. Yeah. And you're like, yeah, it's Superman.
No,
it's literally just the other side of that scene.
I mean, I was totally into seeing the black suit, but I just thought that was cool. But I just, something about the way that Henry Cavill was acting in that one line. I was like
Superman? Yeah.
Exactly. Like
I am.
Yeah.
Was there dialogue?
There was one line. He says something like, "You must be Alfred," but he says it, and it sounds like Superman.
Yeah, he smirks and says, "You must be Alfred." That's it.
Yeah, and that's what it is. Noel, you hit the nail on the head. He sounded to me like like Superman, and I was down.
You could take. I'm not gonna be a hater. Look, they did a Snyder Con online or something. Yeah. It was literally called Snyder Con. It was a bunch of YouTubers or streamers from all over the country, just 2 or 3 of them, and they talked with him, and he was like, "I'm going to show you some stuff," and it was 2 seconds.
Yeah.
He also did a couple of interviews this week with a bunch of other YouTubers that have terrible channels. So I'm like, I don't care. One of the things he said too was like they asked him, "Is any of the footage that was used in the Joss Whedon cut going to be used in yours?" And he was just like, "Fuck no, none of it. I would burn it to the ground if so," like really aggressively. I'm like, this is stupid.
There is something about these Snyder people. Like I get liking a director and liking some movies that a director has done, but there is some weird aggression that comes out of these people that I don't understand it. And it seems to have a Venn diagram interaction with the Comicsgate people, like this weird, strange top. No, I'm not saying that is the fact. I'm saying that to me, they exist in a headspace within me that says there's this weird like aggression problem between Snyder, people who just their whole Twitter stream is just Snyder stuff and attacking people who are like oh, you know what? I don't really like that Snyder movie. And it's just like, no. It's this weird testosterone fueled aggression.
He seems to fuel it a little bit now. So himself, he fuels it a little bit now. It's like with
I would burn it to the ground. Like,
see, I'm not as plugged into that stuff. Like I just don't go to those corners of the internet and look for that. So that doesn't color my feeling about the movie at all. You know what I mean? And so I don't know.
I mean, it didn't to start, but they're so loud that it does now. No, look, I'm actually still excited to see the movie.
I'll check it out.
I don't think it's the second coming, and I think people need to check their expectations because they're creating this scenario where even if it's not amazing, they have to claim it's the best thing in the world to save face because they've been freaking out for 5 goddamn years. So even if it's garbage, even if it's literally him pooping in his hand and throwing it against the wall in high definition, they have to say that it's amazing to save face.
Yeah,
and that's the thing that bothers me. Like, you can't be objective whatsoever.
Yeah, but you
just can't.
You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, no, I do. Look, you want to ignore absolutely every single argument or disagreement, go for it. But when it's based in such a faulty corner, I'm not gonna just be quiet and say okay.
I honestly want. I've said this before. At no point have I ever gone into a movie, paid for a film, and gone in wanting to dislike the movie. Every single time. And you know what? I remember,
we saw it together.
We went and saw Justice League together, BVS, right?
We saw both of them together. We saw both of them twice together. Yeah, like we went and saw them, and then was just like, shh, we're gonna take our significant others to see this the next day. Like,
So, and then I remember afterwards, we walked out into the theater or walked out into the parking lot and hung out there and chatted. And we were like, well, that wasn't so bad. It was better than we, but it felt like in retrospect, this sort of Stockholm syndrome of like trying to find things to like about it. And then the further away from it we got, the more annoyed we got at like the strange inconsistencies and the sort of, the darkness of the films and everything. And like, well, that really wasn't a Superman that I enjoy watching, that sort of stuff.
We spent an hour and a half, I think, like in the middle of the night in the parking lot of an AMC talking about the things we liked. And the conversation just like ebbed into, well, that was kind of weird. Yeah. Well, that was, I guess that was okay. Like we literally like talked it out like it was therapy. And like, I don't know if I liked that movie.
Yeah.
It was pretty, but you know what? There's Comic-Con news.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. So the thing I was saying was, just to wrap up that sort of conversation where we can be objective about it, or at least I can, because I want to enjoy this new Snyderverse version of the thing. Maybe this will solve all the problems from the previous movies, and there are an actual character arc.
He's talked about that. He's like, yeah, I wanted to have Superman come to this moral understanding.
Yeah.
Little things that I've heard since then. Like, I didn't care about it at all until pretty recently. Yeah. And the ways that he's talking since then are like, oh, I'm more and more interested in the Zack Snyder's Justice League. Yeah. And, so maybe surprisingly, but yeah.
I'm sorry. So go ahead, Noel.
Oh, I was going to ask, what did you guys want to, like, do you want to hear about comics, television, or movies?
First.
Comics first. All right. So let's start with the Eisner winners. Like the Eisner Awards were announced. There obviously wasn't a ceremony, but it's still the most prestigious comic book award in the country or in the world, maybe. I don't know. But just some winners to note. Best continuing series. The winner was Bitter Root by David Walker, Chuck Brown, and Sanford Green from Image Comics. Yeah. Best ongoing series across the board.
Wow.
Bitter Root.
We just did that for book club.
I know, it's pretty great.
In my store, not on the podcast.
Best limited series was Little Bird by Darcy Van Pogelist and Ian Bertram.
Ian Bertram, nice.
Yeah, that horror series. I think we reviewed the first issue.
Yeah.
This one surprised me and makes me want to try it. Best new series, Invisible Kingdom by G. Willow Wilson and Christian Ward.
Yeah, Christian Ward won something I saw on his Twitter, right? He won
Christian. Things. That's in here. Best painter / digital artist, Christian Ward.
I haven't read anything by her in a long time, but I've always enjoyed G. Willow Wilson.
Yeah, she's great. Miss
Yeah.
Marvel was really, really fun. I liked those first 2 or 3 issues when she took over Wonder Woman for a hot second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of excellent writers, best writer was Mariko Tamaki. Harley Quinn, Breaking Glass, Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up with Me, and Archie.
I'm not familiar. I've heard of the second one, and I've heard it talked of in, with high praise. But I'm not familiar. Cool.
Oh, he's gonna run away.
He's gone now. Oh well.
Well, I mean, you've heard of Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up with Me. Is that was the one?
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
yeah.
an original, an OGN, a YA OGN that came out earlier this year by her, and the penciler actually is Rosemary Valero O'Connell, and she won Best Penciler.
Okay.
Yeah, so like that book won, the whole creative team won Best all around.
A couple of years, like 4 or 5 years ago, that long ago, or
no, this is this year.
Oh, Laura Jean Keeps Waking Up with Me won this year. I'm sorry, I misunderstood that.
Yeah, no, this year's like the writer and the penciler won Best Writer and Best Penciler.
Very nice.
And we had read it for JD's Hero Complex book club.
Oh, cool.
Like 2 months ago. Literally, almost everything. The last like 4 things that we read have won Eisner's. Bitter Roots, that's, and They Called Us Enemy.
I mean,
George Takei.
To go to JD's Hero Complex in Manayunk and see what he's recommending.
I was going to say our recommendations are on par.
There you go.
Yeah,
Eisner Award-winning recommendations, and the last one was George Takei. You said
yeah, it was best. I forget the I didn't write it here, but it was the George Takei's They Called Us Enemy. The OGN about him
in the internment camp.
And the internment camps.
Yeah,
that one. I think it was based on real, like best blah blah blah, based on actual events or best historical. I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, those were the Eisner winners of note. There was a bunch of other ones, like best one shot, best single issue, best digital comic, and of all of them, the only one I recognized at a glance was Chip Zdarsky is doing a digital comic.
Okay,
and he won with his artist. It's I think it's called Afterlift.
What's it about?
I don't know. I'm going to look it up. Yeah, but it won best digital comic. I don't know. Do you read any digital first comics? On the web, like not DC.
Oh, right.
Your own on the web. No,
not really. I have very, very glancingly, like if I come across, I don't even know if this counts. There was what was it like Little Justice League or something? That was all the Justice League in like a daycare center, and they were all kids, and it was
like Muppet Babies.
Yeah, it was a lot like the Muppet Babies, and was surprisingly like emotional sometimes, like young Bruce Wayne like upset about that, like he's
My
jealous
parents are gone.
Clark. Yeah, exactly. Like Clark is having fun and he goes and sits home, and Martian Manhunter always wears a suit, like a gray suit, and he's like he's a kid, but he's like, it's the sort of adult. What is it called? JL something. I don't know. He had to change the name for DC was like, you can't call it this. But it was cool. They're all there. Anyway, but no, so not that often. Not that often have I read them.
I mean, they're Eisner winners now. Maybe you should look it up.
Maybe I should. Maybe I should. I'm always open to recommendations.
I mean, should I keep going with the news?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
Oh, you know what? I'll ask you this. So this is like a light thing.
Okay.
Marvel announced that the Externals are returning. Do you know what the Externals are?
No, I vaguely recognize the name.
Right.
And like, that's it. And I'm like, wait, the Eternals? No. Externals.
Yeah, I did. I just looked it up really, really quick. Didn't actually like look into what it was, but it was a bunch of characters I don't remember or know.
Yeah.
To be an external, you just have to be hard to kill, or you can't be killed.
Oh,
yeah.
All right, like an Eternal, kind of.
Maybe JD. Marvel announced that the Externals are returning.
Externals or Eternals?
Yeah, exactly.
Externals. Do you know what they are? Apparently, it's like
Externals.
Yeah, they've been around a while, but yeah.
Yeah, it's an X-Men thing. It's like certain members or certain mutants that are immortal, functionally immortal at least. Like they can still potentially be killed, but
a rare species, a rare subspecies of mutants. Apparently, they were mostly X-Men antagonists, according to a loose group knit of 9, possibly 10 members of an immortal subspecies, according to the Marvel database. The other one was Wikipedia.
10 of Swords, anybody? Yeah.
Chris says, JD, I went to Walmart for the con exclusive Marty McFly, and the guy who was the department manager basically told me that Pops were stupid and ugly, and he didn't understand why people collect them.
Did he provide you with one anyway? Because he doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm waiting on a friend to mail me my con exclusive Wallace Wells and hoping the price goes down on the con exclusive Black Lightning.
I did pick up the Amazon con exclusive of Dark Captain Marvel.
You got 2 of them though, didn't you?
I did get 2 of them.
Dark Captain Marvel?
From the arc a couple issues ago of her in like the helmet with the black or the red star, like the black costume.
Oh, cool.
Dope ass costume.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy is. You remember the green top knot guy from 90s Marvel? He seems to be an external. I thought he was more with the Hulk, but I think I'm mixing him up with Doc Samson. But yeah, Gideon, I believe, is his name.
Oh,
Yeah.
They have to. It's got to tie in with all of the Ten of Swords stuff.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So, but either way, like that, I guess that was the news that came out of there. A bunch of other little Marvel tidbits, but nothing really crazy. DC, I thought was really cool, and I hadn't read this previously. But I should have because it was in solicits. But the Legion of Superheroes is doing super issues. Like issue 8 and 9 is 44 different artists, and each artist is handling a member of the Legion. So it's almost like primer books written by Bendis with 40 different artists over 2 issues. I thought that was really, really cool.
Great.
Like almost, I don't know how the format's going to be. It could be a disaster, but the idea of like one page. Here's the character around the table.
Yeah, and that's a long-running Bendis theme. Bendis does that quite a bit, where he tries to he really tries to showcase artists in a way that a lot of other writers don't. And I think he tries to get a lot of his friends who aren't maybe getting as much work as he would like to do pages in these bigger books. Where he divvies up the storyline specifically so that each artist has a different thing to draw, which I really respect. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Also, I did too, and that kind of thing, right? And doing it just in like who's who. Yeah. And like I like the Silmarillion of Lord of the Rings that nobody, which is basically a history textbook about.
I like reading appendices.
Yeah. Yes. If I'm into the thing. And this maybe could be just like kind of like that, but a little story, 1-page thing. And I have high hopes for this too.
Yeah, it seemed really cool. I thought I'd bring it up. There's some news out of Image that I thought was really cool. First 2 long-running series are ending. Outcast by Kirkman and Paul Azucena this October, and Low by Rick Remender and Greg Tacchini. They're ending this October. I love when stories end. But the cooler thing was Crossover, the comic.
Oh, yeah.
By Donny Cates and Jeff Shaw. Now, that's in and of itself is really fun because we're fans of Donny Cates and Jeff Shaw. But the group editor for the book is Mark Waid. They got Mark Waid to be the editor of the book because the plot of the book has to do with a comic book event bleeding into the real world and then the ramifications of that. So the one person they could think of to be like the encyclopedia of all comic book history, so they are referencing things correctly, is Mark Waid, and they got him to do it. I thought that was super, super cool. Like
that sounds cool.
Like really leveraging your seniors incredibly well, or senior in the sense of you're not old, but you just know more than me.
That's pretty cool.
That coming out?
November.
Great, cool. We should
put it on the list.
Review it. Yeah.
And let's move to television. Honestly, other than the Star Trek animated series that you mentioned, which seems pretty cool, Amazon Prime just like came out hot.
Yeah.
So much stuff with Amazon Prime. So right off the bat, they announced Boys is getting a season 3 before season 2 even airs. They approved it, and they're adding an after show with Aisha Tyler.
Yeah.
Either way, I
show in my whole life. I've never watched a single one.
Either way, I thought it was pretty cool. Like, hey, we're they're going to probably end in a cliffhanger. Whatever's going to happen, don't worry, we're going to finish the story because this is popular enough. And I really, really like the show.
Cool.
Paper Girls by Paper Girls by Brian K. Vaughan and Cliff Chang has been ordered for series. It's going to be a TV show, period. Oh. And they're a part of the writer's room. But I thought it was really cool. One of the showrunners is Christopher Cantwell, who has been writing for Marvel recently. And what was it? Halt and Catch Fire?
Halt and Catch Fire.
Yeah.
That show's great.
That show.
I'm on season 1 right now.
Oh.
I love it.
Yeah, so that's where came from.
On paper, that show sounds boring as hell. But the acting and the writing is so good that it's incredibly engaging.
What is it?
Trying to create this new computer.
Yeah, it's like it's historical. It's like historical fiction about the advent of the personal computer, right?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
What does he have against Outcast?
I've only read like the first couple of issues, but I'm glad it's ending.
I read the first three.
It was fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
The thing that I think JD would think is cool as hell is they've announced the Invincible voice cast for the animated series. So Amazon Prime is doing an 8-episode animated series of Invincible. Oh, he's got to run away. This was for you.
Oh, no.
Oh, there you go. I never know if you're going away for like 5 minutes to go help a customer.
Yeah, this
announce when you leave.
This is a pretty good voice cast that you've
listened to. It's Stephen Young is Mark.
Who's that?
Glenn from Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah.
J.K. Simmons is Nolan, Omni-Man.
Oh.
Zachary Quinto as Robot, Seth Rogen as Alan the Alien, Jillian Jacobs as Adam Eve, Zazie Beetz as Amber, Mark Hamill as Art, the costume guy.
Oh,
cool. Walton Goggins as Cecil.
Wow.
Yeah, right? That's pretty great.
That's perfect.
Jason Mantzoukas as Rex Splode.
I'm a big Jason Mantzoukas fan.
Yeah.
Jason Mantzoukas.
Did you watch The Good Place?
Yes.
Derek.
He is Derek.
Which one's Derek?
The one that Janet creates, who is like loopy and
Janet baby husband, the guy with the beard.
Parks and Rec. He is Dennis Feinstein.
Okay.
The perfume guy or the cologne guy.
Doesn't
saw him, you'd know. Yeah. And then the Guardians of the Globe, they're all Walking Dead alumni. Oh. Lauren Cohen, Michael Cudlitz, Lenny James, Sonequa Martin Green. Like it's and I forget the name of. You watched Killing Eve, right?
Oh yeah.
What's the main actress's name? She's the mother. She's playing Mark's mother. She was in Grey's Anatomy. Why do I forget her name? Look it up real quick.
I'm looking it up. Sandra Oh.
Yes, her.
We did it.
Yay! So I thought that was cool. I saw the cast. I was just like, "This is going to be rad." And it's
anything about the style of this animation?
Nope. They said that the announcement and trailer will be soon, but it's been in development for over a year and a half, and it's going to be 8 episodes. I presume they're going to be a little longer than a half hour, and they're saying that it's adult oriented. Not it's got to be F's and S's and sex and stuff. Just that's going to lean into the actual tone of the book.
I have a question, not about the book, but you pronounce it Jillian Jacobs, and she the only time but on Comedy Bang Bang, the only time I've heard her as herself. But on Comedy Bang Bang, the podcast, even if you're on as yourself, sometimes you're not really acting like you normally would. And they say her name is Gillian Jacobs, and they don't really make a joke out of it. So I thought that it was, and that maybe she was like, she's a comedian. She's a maybe eccentric, cool person. Maybe she was like, I'm going to go by Gillian like 20 years ago. Who knows? And I just wanted to know if you guys had info on that.
I call her Jillian Jacobs because I don't know any better.
Okay. I mean, and it could be. That could be a gag that they're doing on Comedy Bang Bang. Who knows?
Did you watch Love?
It's Gillian.
Oh, but it's on my list. It is Gillian? Okay.
Love is a weird slice of life show that it's awesome.
That's exactly what I want from it. I keep seeing it on my list, and I forgot about it actually. So maybe that'll be up next or close to next. But
it has some really interesting stuff. And one of my favorite tiny little character things about that show is that the main character has a group of friends, and they're all nerds or whatever, but they all get together and they bring their instruments and they hang out in in his apartment. Mm-hmm. And their goal is to sit around, eat food, smoke weed, and then make theme songs for movies that don't have theme songs with lyrics.
Oh, that is on the list.
It's awesome.
For sure. All right.
Awesome. I wish there was like a little album of the little theme songs that they write, because some of them are pretty fun.
Nice.
The last thing I have is just some movie news. I mean, the main news is that everything's delayed.
Yay!
So, Quiet Place 2, Top Gun 2 are now joining James Bond, Tenet, Mulan as being removed from the schedule, period.
The only one of those I care about right now is Mulan.
Oh, yeah.
We've talked about James Bond. You give no shits. However, this one was co-written by Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
What has she done?
Oh, Fleabag.
Oh, I didn't see it, but I hear a lot of good things.
Yeah. She's a phenomenal writer.
Put everything aside. Watch Fleabag.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
However, there is still hope for new movies this year. Huh. Two of them being The New Mutants is still keeping its August 28th release date.
To theaters?
They have not explicitly said one way or the other.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they're explicitly keeping their I looked it up. This is the 5th date since April 2018 that they've had. So at this point, just release it. Yeah. Like I get the bigger movies. Like you can't put Mulan on Disney Plus. That's like they're saying it's the highest growth or it's the highest budgeted live action Disney movie.
Wow. Well, maybe not Disney Plus, but like on demand for a while.
They still will lose money.
Yeah.
Like there are some of these movies that are at such a budget level that no matter what, if it's not a global theatrical release, they will lose money because even though you gain X amount in on demand, like as a global splash, it's not going to happen.
You also only have to buy an on-demand movie once if you have a family of 6, as opposed to 6 tickets.
Well, it's not only that too. It's just like it does get pirated immediately. It does. You have to deal with, there's no such thing as global launches too. You have to deal with whatever streaming services and capabilities in all the other countries. So it'll be like a tiered release, like Wonder Woman, Tenet, James Bond, Mulan, you're not going to see as like a digital first. They would rather push those movies off for years. But stuff like The New Mutants and Trolls and that are like under 50 mil or somewhere in there, they will make their money back if they do that. But the other one that I was personally amazingly excited for was Bill and Ted Face the Music is getting a September 1st release. Shut your face.
I can't.
Shut it.
Just do this with the face. Do this with your face.
Keeping your face open.
Bill and Ted Face the Music is getting a theatrical and video on demand release. So if some theaters are open on September 1st in whatever states they are, you can go see it in the theater. Yeah. If not, it will be available on demand no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm not going.
They tried to do this.
I'm not going to go see it. I'm going to rent the shit out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. This is I'm not even going to bother asking it. I was about to ask, when do you think you'll be comfortable going to a movie theater again? And there's no answer to that question.
Yeah. To decide now is folly. Yeah. See how it goes,
Black Widow still has its November release date. So Black Widow, Wonder Woman, has been moved to October 2nd or 3rd or something like that.
Okay.
And that was the move. So they haven't announced if that's going to be canceled or not, which I think it might be. And Black Widow also November 5th. I don't know what they're going to do with that. Like there's a couple of movies that they haven't talked about moving yet. It's it's those two, and Dune hasn't changed its release date, but that's supposed to be in December, so they're just holding off altogether.
What is this? Ghostbusters, actually.
Oh, they officially just moved that to next summer.
Okay.
Like Sony was one of the first. Sony was the first one that just was like, F this. Like, we know we're going to lose money. So they moved James Bond all the way to next year. Like, at first it was like 9 months later. Now they're just like next year. Same with Ghostbusters and something else that was supposed to come out this summer.
Are you guys into Dune? Are you?
Oh, I am.
That's where?
I've never read it. I never care.
Okay.
I'm not. But it's Denis Villeneuve, like the guy that did Blade Runner 2049 and Prisoners and Arrival is adapting, and the cast is awesome.
Oh, you did Arrival.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. That movie is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I still haven't seen Blade Runner. I don't know why, but I haven't.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was so good.
I think I'd like it. I didn't see so Philip K. Dick is one of my, I think, top 5 authors, right? And he has a long history with Hollywood of being adapted by them taking the names that are in the book and then doing their own story. And so I read the book Philip K. Dick wrote, and I just didn't get around to the movie for like 25 years after it was released. And luckily then I got to see the director's cut, as my first, the final cut as my first exposure. And that shit held up, and I really liked it. And I want to see 2049. I just haven't gotten to it.
You know what? They're all pretty good.
Yeah.
Like the Blade Runner cuts. So the final cut is just a more straightforward movie, and it's got extra footage.
Mm-hmm.
The theatrical cut, they lean in. The main difference is that there's a voiceover. Like there's a Harrison Ford voiceover, and it leans into the noir aspect of it. So you're hearing his like, she walked into the room with a blah blah blah. Like it sounds much more like a noir.
Yeah,
which I actually think is awesome.
He just keeps mentioning women's gams over and over again. It's real
gams, what a classic noir word to use.
Gams.
Part of a woman. Yeah.
So
had gams that went all the way up.
The final cut is better, but the other ones are still really good. Like there's a reason why the movie has had like 5 different editions. It's never nothing is ever missing. It's just they keep adding good stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Matt says, I hope this at least helps with most people's superhero movie fatigue.
I could even see Black Widow released on Disney Plus, like for me personally, not anything about the character, but because it's a prequel. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what? That was some of the stuff too. Like Disney Plus's slate is pushed off. So like in August, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier was supposed to release. And it's not. Like they haven't even finished filming it because they had like a small chunk left to do. However, WandaVision is probably going to keep its release date this year because they were doing like that whole show was all in sets and it's finished photography. Whereas
that I'm looking forward to more, honestly. I'm also looking forward to the other one.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah.
But like the idea of like, because the Falcon and Winter Soldier show was supposed to be global and they had all these other locations to shoot at, they're not going to finish even though they were supposed to be done first versus WandaVision.
Right.
But
that makes sense. That's how it is.
Disney's an anomaly. So like they definitely won't do something like Mulan, which cost X amount more, but and it's, even though it's based off of a popular comic or a popular cartoon, it doesn't have the kind of like baked in audience that all Marvel movies do. Mm-hmm. So they could take a hit financially if they decided to do a Marvel movie on Disney Plus exclusively, because they know that no matter what, it's going to make money on the back end and keep the story
moving forward.
Yeah, exactly. But something like Mulan, they need to make a splash, a big one immediately in order to recoup.
That makes sense.
Because it's not like 5 movies in the series.
Right.
Where they have to it doesn't have the legs like a Marvel movie. So maybe they would drop Black Widow on Disney Plus. You
don't think there's going to be a scene after credits in Mulan where like Nick Fury comes in and he's like, we're putting together a team of...
No, so I heard that the dragon Mushu is not a part of the live action movie, which is probably a good choice. But I'm thinking that's what the after credit sequence is going to be. A little digital Mushu dragon coming out and be like, what? And then it just
I am Mulan.
You think this world is this big?
Hey guys.
Yeah.
RMN. I'm not sure who that is. RMN says, I feel some books just don't make good movies. Dune. Should I read Dune?
Okay,
I
here's
don't want to.
here's my take on Dune. You might not like this, Noel. So I read Dune, the first one, when I was much younger. I think I was an adult, but
I know where you're going.
Yeah. I felt that it was dry, right? I felt like the first book was
Sandy dry?
What's that? It's very sandy. It was very, very sandy. It was a big deal. And but I still loved it. I loved the philosophy in it was cool. Like each book starts out with like a quote from this kind of overarching.
Wait a minute.
About him. What's that?
How many books are there?
Like 6 or 7.
No,
right?
I'm sorry. Each chapter, I meant. Each chapter.
There's multiple Dune books.
There
I
are.
thought it was just one book.
No. Dune is a book that has its whole story, and then 2 through 7 or whatever keep going.
Great.
I personally felt like I loved 2, 3, and 4, and when I think back about it, I'm like, ooh, I think I like those more. It really got going, kind of like Return of the King style. However, I recently recommended it to a good friend of mine, and he is an adult now, and he read it, and he thought it was great. He didn't think it was dry at all. And that same thing happened to me with Eaters of the Dead, the Michael Crichton book, that really got moving once you got into it a little bit, but I don't think I would think that now, like now that I'm older.
That's why you said I would hate this explanation, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey,
like
if you just read the first 2,000 words or the first 2,000 pages,
that's it exactly.
You're good.
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Like, but that's 2,000 pages.
Yeah. But I'm not recommending that. I do think Dune itself is worth reading. Like, I think it's really good. I can see why. I think I can see why RMN might not care for or might not think it would make a good movie because it's very heady. Like, there's a lot of internal stuff that the main character is like worrying about like, if I do this, then this will happen, that kind of thing. And it's also so grand in scope. This is a 2-part movie for a single book that is, I have it on my bookshelf, and it is, I can't find it to make sure, but it's not a long book. And yet it's 2 movies worth of story. And I think that's a good idea, Yeah.
And they're saying it's 2 movies, but they're breaking it up in a way that if it's not successful, they won't make the second one.
I could see
because they're not filming them back to back.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, but they were conceived as 2 movies. But apparently, so I've never read it. I attempted to read it in high school. I know that the David Lynch movie is flawed and not very good.
Okay, I never saw it.
I loved it when I was 12.
Okay.
I watched it on Friday nights over and over again. That and Highlander, which I shouldn't have been watching either of them probably at that age. I loved those movies, and I have a nostalgia for the soundtrack, the art design, the movie. It's incredibly flawed. They do attempt to squeeze all of that into one movie, and because of that, it's a shit ton of like text prose on the screen. There's internal dialogue in it, like literally Paul is doing something and has a voiceover and other characters have voiceovers. Mm-hmm. Like they try and squeeze every single trick to get the whole story into the movie. And it's like, there's even a time jump in the middle of the movie. If I remember correctly of like,
I can see that.
It's just waves and like text scrolls of like where you are now. Like it's
I could see
weird
that.
flick.
It is also so huge in scope. The movie, you know what I mean? It's like it covers such a vastness, like this grand space opera. Like it is. It's not quite a space opera because most of it takes place on Arrakis or Arrakis. I was just reading it, so I used to pronounce it Magneto until the cartoon.
There's apparently to get to my point, the director had said that We want it to be 2 movies. It's going to be 2 movies. As long as everything's okay, it will be 2 movies. However, he had mentioned if you've read the books, you know that there's a relatively decent stopping point for the next part. Like there's a bridge off.
I don't
And
remember
that's
enough to know what he's talking about.
I did not know what he was referring to.
Yeah.
But that's the movie break. Like there's enough story to kind of get there. And then also too, like if we want to wrap this back into comic books, I think it's IDW or Boom. Boom is doing a pre-comic or a prequel comic just called House of Atreides.
Oh, that's cool.
Coming out. That's coming out, I think, in October or September or something.
Read any of the? I know there's like his son, Frank Herbert's son, has written like a lot of prequels and post. You know,
if I remember correctly, it's based off those. It's based off of the young Herberts.
That's cool. There's also, I believe, an Amazon series all about the Bene Gesserit.
Is there?
I don't know if it's Amazon, but I
don't know what that means.
It's the sisterhood that is kind of the like. I don't want to give anything away, but they're a powerful organization. You know,
Dune: House of Atreides comes to Boom Studios in fall 2020. It is written by Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson. They're adapting their New York Times bestselling novel.
And he also Kevin J. Anderson co-writes with him a lot in the other. I don't know any of his stuff, but he's a well-known sci-fi guy that you know. There's
no explicit release date and no artist announced, but I'm assuming it's going to line up with the movie. Yeah,
that makes sense. Let me see if I can find this prequel is just says they're getting their own TV show from last year. So I think it's probably pretty early in the stages. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Tyler. Yeah, I'd say all in all, I think of Dune very fondly. And it's for whatever reason has never been in what I think of as like the top circle of sci-fi things that I think of, but it's up there. You know what I mean? For whatever reason, it never made it quite into my like main canon, but highly respected and something that maybe should be, but just, you know, I think of it as just like a little bit off from that. Yeah, it's cool. I will not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death. That like that phrase has run through my head many times in my life from this book.
This announcement is confusing. So this fall, Boom Studios will debut the first issue of a 12-issue Dune House Atreides limited series in partnership with Herbert Properties LLC and in full coordination with Abrams Comics Arts, who are publishing in the fall the first of 3 graphic novel adaptations of Herbert's original classic novel Dune. So this Abrams Comics Arts, I'm not familiar with, are publishing 3 original graphic novels that adapt Dune. And this is a 12-issue prequel that's going out through Boom Studios in issue format.
That is based on a book that already existed. Like that.
No, the Dune already existed, and they're doing 3 graphic novel adaptations at this one studio, and then Boom is doing a monthly series.
There is a House Atreides prequel book series also.
Yeah, but the comic aspect of it is this is a 12-issue mini that are graphic novels. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, apparently the Bene Gesserit has been ordered by Warner Media already. This was last year. There wasn't any new information about it, but that could be because of the
everything is shit. Everything is ending.
Yeah, and we're pausing. Or who knows?
I'm very excited for the movie, though. It's
me too.
The writing and directing, the cast looks.
The cast is amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, Oscar Isaac, Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya.
Oh, right, Johnny, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
No, Jason Momoa, I think, is in it too.
Jason Momoa is in it. Who I still
not Dave Bautista, Jason Momoa.
What's that?
I said Dave Bautista, but he was actually in
Dave Bautista
Blade
is
Runner.
also in it.
Is he?
Yeah,
Oh.
he is in fact. No, I don't recognize his character name. But some of these. Josh Brolin is in it. Stellan Skarsgård is in it. There's a
lot of people.
good cast list, and knowing the people that they are playing, I'm like, all right, yeah, I could see that. You know,
It looks like a really great. It looks on paper, everything looks amazing.
mhm.
We'll see.
But yeah, I think some of my feelings about Dune and it being a little dry and picking up in the later books were because of my age at the time. And even that being said, I was still like, that was awesome. You know, like the ideas and the philosophy and all of the different groups and everything.
I don't want to read it. There are so many things that I want to read or feel like I'm supposed to or should, but I don't want to.
Read something you want to read. You know, read something you.
I attempted in high school. Like I read the first. Yeah. Actually, I might have finished the first novel, but I don't remember any of it.
Yeah,
it was the school library edition, so it was really only this big.
Sure.
And it wasn't very thick, but I have no.
It's not so thick, if I recall correctly. I mean, it's not abnormally short, but yeah.
No, it was the little, like the hardcover library edition that was very small. But it was, I just didn't. It just didn't stay with me. No, I kept imagining the movie and or this, and it was just like.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah, it's my problem.
That's understandable. I mean, it is an ideas book where he's like, here's interesting ideas. Here's some philosophy. Enjoy that, you know. And at the same time, there's a huge story. But yeah, I could, you know, if there's other books that you want to read those.
Yeah, I was just having a this is like not dissimilar from a conversation I was having with JD offline about.
We are still talking.
We are, yeah.
I don't know. That
I mean, now we are. You're gone. You can't end the show.
What are we to do?
But about stuff on my reading list, right? Like, so we're a part of we do the book club here, which is kind of required reading, whether you're excited about it or not. It's like a deadline of having to read something. But then there's also.
How could he hear our answer and not already know that we were still talking about Dune? That's my question.
Whatever. But we're in other book clubs and stuff, and my personal stack was getting high, and then I started to feel overwhelmed by being given like more assignments of things to also read, and it's just like,
yeah.
And he asked, you know, like, do you want me to order these other books for you? I was like, I don't think so. Does that make me a jerk for not wanting to read the stuff that I didn't pick myself previously? You know, so I'm just like, I'm taking a break of extra reading, right?
I hear you. You know, there's so much, and mostly I think about it now with like video or TV content, but it applies.
Yeah.
You know, there's so much. There's too much to not just read the thing that you're most excited about. You know.
Yeah, I
get into that.
I could feel a whole TiVo reference. I can feel a whole like all the memory of a TiVo on all the stuff that people have suggested I would love, and I don't doubt that I would love it.
Right.
But we're talking at this point, it's hundreds upon hundreds and hundreds of content that they're saying I would love and I should experience. But I'm like, that just seems Herculean at this point. I don't know if I want to.
Yeah, there's too much, and why not just go with what you're like? Ooh.
Yeah.
That's cool. And keep those things in mind and maybe look at them every now and then and see, like, does this make me go, ooh?
Yeah, I know that you guys have watched all of the DC Universe stuff, and I absolutely want to watch Swamp Thing. I absolutely want to watch Doom Patrol.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm going to go back and watch the second season of Titans.
Sure.
But whatever. But I did.
Yeah.
Huh?
I've never gotten to Titans, and I watched
the first season.
Yeah.
But yeah, all of the stuff like there's too much drag time in the original June.
Oh, that June movie. I know that one. Hey! We were talking about reading things that interest you now. You know,
we don't know how to end a show. We can't do it without you. So
I
want this to go on longer.
Things I enjoy now.
No, we're
No.
saying like people recommend things all the time, and these people know us. We're sure we would like them. Noel especially was talking about his experience,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
just
I was
read what grabs you right now. You know,
like feeling overwhelmed by all of the, suggestions and assignments, and like I know I'll like it.
right?
I just have such a big stack right now.
Yeah, I
Right.
remember Brandon Jackson Shorts, who is part of Gutter Talk. He would, I think at one point he was kind of hurt that he would make these recommendations to Len and I, and we wouldn't do them, and he took that as some sort of like we meant that against Brandon.
Like you dismissed his opinion.
Yeah, no, which is not the case at all. Like,
Yeah.
Doctor Who and everything he wants us to try and everything. But honestly, there's just so many things that I have to
Right.
digest
Yeah.
in order to do the podcast, in order
Yeah.
to run a comic book store,
Yeah.
in order to have a book club for the comic book store, in
Right.
order to have a book club for the podcast. That, when it comes time for me to sit down and enjoy a thing that I want to enjoy, I'm going to click on whatever my ADD rattled brain decides at that moment.
Yeah.
Right. What are you into right then?
Yeah.
When you loan one of us a book, you're not getting it back right away.
Brian can attest.
I
All
don't
there is
take
to it.
loans. I don't take loans from people anymore because then I feel like now I have to hold on to this for a while. I'm not going to get to it, and then I'll feel bad about having it. So eventually I'll give it back. I got to make sure nothing happens to it. I'm not going to read or watch this thing. So
Yeah.
I don't accept
I have JD's Constantine animated movie, and you know what? It's mine now.
Right.
I've had it for like a year at this point.
Yeah.
You've got you've got the Wonder Woman edition. Like,
Yeah.
I know when we loan stuff to each other, it's gonna be forever because there's so many other things happening, and like, so it's like,
Ooh,
I mean,
JD has my Lucifer Volume 1, which we will be getting to in about 1 month.
yeah, and now it's an assignment.
Right. Now it's
So it's moved up the list.
Let's see. Conversely, though, is that the right word? Conversely, I like having the assignments occasionally because, for instance, Swamp Thing never would have gotten to it, despite the fact that in the back of my mind, I kind of wanted to get to it.
Yeah.
So the fact that someone had requested we do it for book club, I was like, great, I have to read it now. Awesome. Same
But
thing with Lucifer.
Or
that falls
Hellboy.
that falls in the Venn diagram of something that you always kind of had in the back of your head, and like, oh, now I have to. If I came at you with a brand new something you've never heard of, and it's this many hours worth of investment, and you totally need to do it, it's like,
Yeah.
Can I wait? Can I not?
Tyler Reynolds is correct. Life is too short to waste time on things you don't enjoy.
Yeah.
We might enjoy them though. That's just it.
Yeah,
like
that's the
it's
other
more
thing. Yeah.
it's more the saying yes is a buy-in of time that you can't allot in your head right now.
And a zero-sum kind of thing. Like there's other stuff that other people have suggested. There's other stuff that I just saw and I want to watch. And it's a good idea to keep the recommendations around because like Swamp Thing style, maybe one day you'll see it and you'll think, somebody told me this was good.
But like
to
wrap it back into the conversation earlier, JD has tried Hellboy. Doesn't like it.
Sure.
Are we going to keep forcing and suggesting Hellboy?
No, that's done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's done. You've tried it. You're good. Titans. I watched 13 hours of it. I don't care about the second season. I don't think like no matter how much better it does or doesn't get, it's like I've invested.
Yeah.
I'm good. Please stop suggesting it.
Yeah.
Like shit like that. Yeah.
Ooh, I'm a little trepidatious about Lucifer then because it starts with a miniseries.
I read that.
He's like, you read? Oh yeah, you read it already.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Okay,
like,
cool.
Spoilers. Like I read that first trade, and it's
cool.
It's wonderful.
I read it too, obviously, but I started Lucifer when it was just on the racks, and it was either like issue 9 or something, and so I didn't read volume 1 until I was already super into Lucifer, and so I'm glad that you liked it just coming in.
Yeah,
fresh,
it's a great little mini.
Nice.
That it turns into a series is just a bonus. Like it was a great little mini.
All right, well, there's your book club from the CultPop podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in on what we all thought of Lucifer. I don't have to read it now.
JD,
you're
I
welcome.
would suggest that you do.
Tough.
I think you'd love it. And if you just get through the first 9 volumes, volume 10 is up.
All right, guys, let's wrap it up. Thank you so much for hanging out with us for the past 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
It's been awesome. You can join us here next Sunday at 10:30 a.m. You can join us on the YouTube channel. If you just look up the CultPop Podcast YouTube page, we do the Thunder Rounds.
Thunder Rounds.
In the middle of the week, whenever we get around to them, which are 60-second review videos. You can go to patreon.com/Johnny Destructo and help us out that way. Thank you so much to everyone who does. It really does help out. Noah, where can the people find you?
Social media at Mr. Bartocci, MrBartocci, and or all of the Cult Pop stuff. We'll say hello. Yeah.
Samuel David says, great show. Thanks. See you next time.
Thank you, Samuel.
There it goes. Oh, look at this. I can there's like a little thing. Put user in timeout or block user. I wonder what timeout means. Like how long does that last?
Do it to me right now.
Well, no. It's the people who comment.
Oh.
Brian, where can the people find you?
I am. Hey, he's back. The timeout is over. I'm at brianliebdesign.com, and like Noel, I'm on Facebook with my own name, and my picture is there.
And you can tweet at me at JD's Hero Complex. Also, I'm on TikTok for no discernible reason. If you look at Johnny Destructo on TikTok,
Dude, I worry about TikTok, man.
Stupid videos.
Yeah.
So that's it. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will talk at you later.
Bye.